Welcome to Alfredo's Size 3 Taco Truck, a Marvel Crisis Protocol podcast, the only podcast that understands the missed opportunity rule. I'm Vincent Curkov.
I'm Pat Van Value.
I'm Nate Horan.
And I'm Alex Botts. And you said that we would understand it but not get it, your intro. And I don't know what that sentence means. And I also don't get the intro.
Okay, so do you know what the missed opportunity rule is in Marvel Crisis Protocol?
No.
Okay. So in Challenger, there is a section called Missed Opportunity that says you can't retroactively apply rules even if they're must rules if you've missed them.
Okay.
So this is like, so we've had almost every comment on the first game of Squad Goals is why was the power phase not rewound and given to the player that missed their power phase? And the issue, and the reason is the missed opportunity rule. And like people are, and then my TTS game that I played today against Not Nate, also in person, just asked me like why.
Like about
the video?
Yeah, it was just like, hey, I'm watching the second one. I watched the other one yesterday. Why this rule, and why was this ruled this way? And then why did both of the commentators say that was correct? Like, this is not how we play this at all.
You're educating people. Good job.
You are educating people.
So I want to read this paragraph on missed opportunities real quick, because I think there is a little bit of nuance here that makes this less cut and dry, and maybe we want to fight about it.
Okay.
And it's only like 3 sentences, so it's not much to... Players are expected to follow the game's rules, remembering to perform actions and use card effects when indicated. It is each player's responsibility to maintain a proper game state and to ensure that all mandatory abilities and game steps are acknowledged. If a player forgets to use an effect during the timing specified by that effect, they cannot retroactively use it. Players are expected to refrain from intentionally distracting or rushing an opponent with the intent of forcing a missed opportunity.
That actually is like a good... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Vince.
No, you go ahead.
Well, that's a good segue into sort of our first topic. I mean, we're kind of already talking about it, but we're back from Squad Goals. I mean, Vince and Nate are back in California from Squad Goals. Pat and I remained at Squad Goals.
They never left.
But
still in the mall.
We're still in the mall. And we're going to talk about the event and stuff. And we're going to talk about a bunch of other stuff too. And we probably have some announcements, but I'm pushing the announcements to after Squad Goals, if that's cool, since we're already talking about it.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I wanted to talk about was like what we learned from the sort of broadcasting aspect of Squad Goals. So if you didn't know, Squad Goals was our team event. It was last weekend, which was the first weekend of May. And the Meatmen won. The Meatmen is a team of Curtis Osborne and Johnny Pastrami. I'm only using his chosen.
I thought you were going to say "and others."
And others. Just like Curtis Osborne and some other
name the other two players. Curtis Osborne's team. Nobody else would note on that team. Moving on. We agreed before the cast we weren't going to say his name. I'm going to bleep it.
That would be his first and gamer tag name and leave his last name.
Yeah. So congratulations to those guys. And I thought the event went really well in general. But in addition to the event itself, we streamed a game, one of the top table games every round. And we did commentary between the four of us. It ended up mostly being me because I'm the perfect combination of not useful technically and not the best judge of the four of us. So I'm perfect for just being put in a chair and told to talk. And I thought it was an interesting experience, and we're trying to this is now the second live event that we've commentated after LVO earlier this year. And I wanted to talk about if you guys had any takeaways from the experience. And one of my takeaways, which is like exactly what you're talking about with the take back rule, is like almost all the games that I watched, maybe all of them, had some kind of rules mistake at some point or another. Something forgotten, something skipped over, something done twice by accident, whatever. And most of them were very minor. But one of the things that was interesting is that I felt pretty self-conscious about how I would talk about it, because I think it's like it's kind of dishonest for the commentators to not talk about it when they notice a missed rule, right? Like it would be kind of stupid if I just pretended that something didn't happen when it did happen. But I also didn't want to like accuse anybody of anything. And like I didn't want to like even if it's clear that one specific person made the mistake, I think like halfway through the event I realized that I needed to like talk about it as like the two of them making the mistake together, because it's kind of both players' responsibility to maintain a game state that has like followed the rules. And so I tried to, as the games went on, not refer to it as like such and such player forgot this rule, but like neither player caught X, Y, Z, and so the game continues. Because the point is really not, I mean, especially for the commentators, because the commentator, who the fuck cares what the commentators think anyway? They're not the people playing. But even for like the judges or the players in the game, unless someone is being belligerent and intentionally cheating over and over, which nobody was doing on stream, and as far as I know, nobody was doing in the event. As long as that's not happening, then neither the judge nor any of the players should be like thinking about it as like an antagonistic thing, or as like one person trying to get one over on something, or one person fucking up and the other person doing nothing wrong. It's like a collaborative process to make the game state accurate, which I think is kind of an interesting thing to think about with these games as opposed to like video games. So that was my takeaway from broadcasting.
Yeah, I think related to that, we started having this discussion, and I don't think we've come to a conclusive answer. We'll probably keep talking about it right up until the next time we have to stream again. Is how active or helpful should the commentators be to the game being played, right? Because our rule for LVO, which is a very simple one to follow because we weren't running that event, is that the commentators aren't judges, right? We cannot do anything about the game. We're not running the event. We have no say in anything that's happening. We're just here to sit and observe, right? And I think that made sense for that event, but I think that gets muddier at like squad goals, where like I am a judge for a round, and then I'm a commentator, and then I'm back to being a judge, right? I think that makes it muddies the water a bit. And I also think that while that policy for LVO was the easiest for us, I'm not totally convinced it's the best for everyone. I think there are times where it would make sense for commentators to go over and fix a thing when they catch it, right? Like specific game state related things. Like it's one of those things you have to be very careful of, because a lot of players, I'm like, this is where Vincent, I can do a bunch of arguments, is that he's like the most anti-active judging of anyone I've met, and I'm a very active judge, probably more than I should be at times. And so we have both ends of the spectrum well covered between the two of us. But just because every time one of these events happens, there's a mistake happens, not every time, but enough times when one of these little mistakes happens, you see people on the internet losing their minds about cheating, right? Yes. Which I think is a different, like the stakes are different for a streamed game versus a game that only matters to the two people at the table playing, right? Where the little things that get forgotten, because there's little things that get forgotten in every single game of Marvel ever played, but they stand out a lot more. There's a lot more eyes on it, and people on the internet are way more willing to jump to the worst possible assumption.
And it also just takes like one voice that's typing a lot to get it. Because also, like, even though we had a good amount of viewers, we didn't have a lot of active comments or commentators. Like, it was dominated by like five or six people in the chat usually.
Yeah.
This is a thing that, so like, despite my internet persona, I do actually pride myself on like being able to change my mind on things, despite me taking aggressively hard stances on anything and everything. I will happily say I'm wrong about stuff. And so we started this weekend, and I was very much in LVO mode where I'm like, yeah, I'm commentating. I'm not a judge. And then I immediately went from commentating to judging, and then started the next day commentating again. And I'm like being asked for judge calls, and then trying to sell that I'm not a judge is probably just wrong.
Yeah, there's also like,
yeah, go ahead.
Like, I mean, we're not we were trying not to be judges on commentary, but like, God forbid, like a fight broke out or something. We have authority, like, because it's our event. Like, we could still throw somebody out of the event or something like that, and we actually could not do that in LVO. Like if we witnessed two people fighting or something like that, or somebody being a real jerk or saying something that they shouldn't say, like really offensive or whatever. Any reason that you would throw somebody out of LVO, we still could not do that. The most we could do is be like, call somebody over and be like, hey man,
yeah,
it's him over there. He stole my chicken fingers. It's like, so I don't know.
So there were two examples that I think really like illustrate our point well over the course of the weekend, and I hope these players forgive me for mentioning them. But so there was a moment with Conan, who was using reserve members. Reserve members is a team tactics card that you pay 0 to use if you're near a friendly leadership, and you get an additional die.
Yeah.
Conan was using it as a reroll instead of an additional die, but still following all of its other stipulations. And I was judging this round, and Nate was commentating. And Nate pulled me over and went, go fix this. Like, Conan is consistently playing this rule wrong. Nobility also doesn't know how this rule works. Just go fix it. And I said, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, it does matter. So he was playing it correctly as a once per turn, right? Which makes the difference here, because now with the card as written, you have to kind of call your shot of, I need my additional dice on this attack. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Whereas with the reroll, you would wait and see, do I need the reroll before using the once per turn effect? So it's not strictly better one way or the other, but it is a very different play pattern.
Yeah,
Continue.
Exactly. Yeah. And so Nate pulls me over and is like, hey, go fix this. And I like laughed at him and said, no, right? Like, that's not how judging works. And so I think that kind of emulates, or like kind of gives a good example of like the two philosophies of judging that like me and Nate kind of have. Nate wants a game to be played perfectly. And as a judge, I want to be invited into your game because I kind of am, right or wrong, I kind of am above the belief that like anything the two players agree on, like if they agree that, like they want their two leaders to both be like 6 dice when they're 5 dice attacks, they can do that. Like, I can't really stop them.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel like as a judge, I would like to be invited into your game and then participate in it from there. Because I have had those like overly active judges, and I'm sure Omnis will be mad at me for mentioning this, but the year that I won LVO, there was a moment that happened, and I don't remember what the exact in-game context was, but Omnis mentioned somebody measuring something and like revealed information about the game that I don't think my opponent was thinking about. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I had to step in and ask him to be less active of a judge. Because like, as a judge, I don't want to tip the game in any way. Like, I just want to resolve issues. I want to be very laissez-faire capitalism, right? Like, I want to just like let it play out how it's supposed to play out. But then the second thing happened in the game, in the weekend, that like I think has kind of convinced me that my laissez-faire approach is probably wrong, especially when streaming is involved.
I think it's specifically for streaming. Yeah,
I agreed. Yeah.
So Sooner played a game on stream, and there was like I don't remember the exact context, but I believe the context is that like somebody took damage, he marked the power, a question was asked, he answered the question, forgot to put the damage on.
Yeah, it was 2 damage early on in the game.
Yeah, turn 1, blade through a Glaive Beast, did 2 damage. They marked the bleed, they marked the power, they did not mark the damage.
Right. And the commentators did not get involved. Right. Mm-hmm. Obviously, no judge was called over.
And we actually didn't even, Nate and I were the commentators. We actually didn't even notice until later ourselves, or at least I didn't. Like, it was like the attack happened on turn 1, and it wasn't until like turn 2 or 3 that I looked at Beast's card on the stream and realized that he didn't have the damage. But yeah.
And I was talking to Nate about this after the event, and he said Sooner was kind of angry at him because.
Well, yeah, let me fill in some details real quick here that I think are important. So they noticed on turn 3, which was the next time Beast got attacked.
They meaning the players,
Yeah, the players. And they're like, oh yeah, Beast took some damage turn 1. And neither player was super confident at the amount of damage he took. right? And like, oh, he's got a bleed on here. He definitely took some. Was it 1? Was it 2? I don't remember. Neither player felt super confident in the answer. So they agreed to just do like 1 damage and then carried on. And then Beast like immediately died. So like it super didn't matter. And it's a situation where I think if it wasn't being streamed, no judge would have to get involved, right? Because the players came to a compromise, everybody's happy, things moved on. But then,
neither of them would even remember, like if it wasn't streamed. So.
Okay.
Right. But then after the game, Sooner came up to me and I mentioned it, I was like, just to clear this up. And he's just like, well, why didn't you say anything? I don't want people to think that I was cheating, right? If you guys noticed it, if you knew the right number, why not just come in and tell me so we have the game state correct? And then, Sooner's not a cheater, right? There's no fucking universe where Sooner would try to pull that shit, right? He's absolutely not that type of guy. But with a little bit of interference from us, just the smallest bit, we make sure nobody gets any dumb ideas in YouTube chat or whatever.
Yeah. And like, so him being kind of upset with us about it really made me like kind of examine the place in which judging kind of has to like take place. And that I think it is now, like I've moved off, like, I think it's like patently ridiculous for commentators to come and step in on something. Now I think it's like it's much more of a gray area. And like my issue with like active judging is the like constantly like kind of knocking your hand, like preventing the flow state that you're looking for as a competitive gamer. Where you're constantly being micro adjusted on legal, not legal stuff that really I think the judge has no business in. Like marked damage, clearly you would want a judge to step in and be like, hey, you just blatantly didn't mark 2 damage, like not intentionally, but you forgot it. They didn't notice you didn't mark it. Both of you want this damage marked. But like things like me measuring a long from a character that doesn't have flight over a piece of terrain. Right. And them going, that character doesn't have flight or, whatever, like interrupting what I'm doing and be like, that's not what I'm measuring. Right. Or I'm looking at a throw or something like that. Right. So like
pithy comment, but I don't think that's active judging. I think that's just bad judging. I think you just don't want bad judging to occur.
Well, I think it's tough because like I think that like without streaming or maybe without tournaments in general, but just like local game night or something like that, a judge is not really a referee. A judge is just like a mechanic by which disputes are resolved where nobody gets mad, ideally. Like that's like the more passive judge, right? It's like only show up when you ask them to, and the question is just how does this rule work, or can you measure this for me, or which of us is right, and you need something like that so the game can continue and everything. But then like the more public a game gets, or the more people who are not the 2 players care about the game result, which is true of tournaments, but then is especially true of like streaming and stuff.
When entertainment's involved.
Yeah, then the more people want a referee, which is tough because I mean like nobody is a professional nobody's even a professional tabletop player, and especially nobody is a professional tabletop judge. So like there's not consequences for being a bad judge really, and there's no it's like people are not trained to do this, so they're fallible and they can make mistakes and so forth, and then that further derails the game. Like it makes the game worse. It doesn't make the game better if a judge comes in and is wrong a bunch of times. But I think like if I was in I was gonna say if I was in Suitor's position. I've been in Suitor's position. I mean like one of my LVO games, the one that was on stream, like my opponent didn't score a point he was supposed to, like a victory point. And not only did I not learn about it until after the game, I didn't even learn about it until like several days later, like where I was already back home from LVO. And I actually won because of that, not because Yeah, but just because we tied and we tied in round 6 and I won in round 7, and we were not supposed to tie. Like by the rules of the game, it shouldn't. In round 6, he should have beat me. So like, and that, I mean, I don't like. I would prefer, especially if I had ended up winning LVO, which thankfully I did not. But if I had won LVO and part of my path to victory was that game, I would feel pretty bad about that afterwards. And I would have also felt bad about it afterwards if it wasn't streamed, but I never would have learned about it. Like nobody,
Right.
the only reason I know that happened is because it was streamed and other people, like you guys, the commentators, I guess, but also people watching the stream were counting it. And no one even told me directly. I found out about this from a Discord from other people talking about it, which is fine, which is cool. I mean, nobody wanted to harsh my mood, and that's cool. And I didn't win the event anyway, so it's fine. But like, if I found out about that after the fact, and I had already won an event, I would feel like shit. So I totally am with Sooner's displeasure in that circumstance, because I really, in that context, I would really like a referee. Obviously, I would prefer a referee that was omniscient, that would never get the rules
Yeah, I mean,
but like,
you would like a computer there,
handy.
like adjudicating the rules at all times.
But like, since I don't have an omniscient referee on hand, I will take a fallible one, I think, in games like that. So
I think that was a little bit of the challenge for me. And like, so we haven't really talked about the first round where Vince and I casted a game that had some challenges. Like players, both like people remembering things and players agreeing on game state wise. Where like, I understand the desire to have more correct games, right? Like I'm absolutely right there with you. But I think the worry with trying to turn a streamed game into a tool to make the game more correct is that you're wrong sometimes. Essentially. Because like in watching that first round game, I was like, I think they missed a power phase. But like my jaw, I haven't been sitting here trying to watch for somebody missing a power phase or missing a rule. Right?
Yeah.
I've been sitting here
say
trying not
meaningful
to
things to entertain the audience,
not to
and
step
not
on my
trying
face
to...
and
yeah, and sometimes you talk over something happening, right? Because the way our stream works, which is not even how every stream of a tabletop game works, but the way our stream works is we have mic'd up the players, but you, the viewers, can't hear it. It's just for us as commentary to listen to them, so we sort of know what's going on. But like, we also talk over it, and we're supposed to talk over it. Like a lot of times, like a ton of times in those rounds, I just missed stuff or kind of lost track of what the activation was happening because I was talking and I didn't listen to who was activating when and where.
Yeah, like in a world where there were more people involved, like I don't watch sports, but I know more sports have done the like ref review of stuff where they can just call for somebody to go watch footage of a thing, right? And people complain about it being slow or whatever, and like fair. But I think in a world like that, I feel great about like the stream being able to ask the ref to go review a thing, but I don't feel great about being the arbiter of the thing.
You're saying Harry Carey shouldn't have been also deciding baseball rules? That would have been really funny.
Sure, let's go with that. Yeah, like I don't know.
I do think it's a thing where if you're being a commentator, judge, referee, you have to be 1,000% sure if you're going to get up from your seat and go to the table.
You definitely still have to err on the side of caution for sure.
Because that's the other thing is, like you said earlier, that like I just don't like bad judging. I don't like active judging, but it's like bad judging doesn't just come from bad judges.
No, absolutely not.
Bad judging comes from great judges sometimes. And like
I know that I'm it up. Yeah.
I'm totally capable. In fact, I wrote a whole Goonhammer article coming out next week about the calls that I screwed up. Right. And I think that like that's a worry of mine when I take a more active stance. Like you're talking earlier about like it's not a referee or an umpire. I personally think it's more like a line judge. Like when there's a question of whether it's in or out, I'll make the final decision on in or out. But I'm not gonna like if everybody knows it's in, I'm not gonna show up and interfere, even if I think it's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, like the ideal would be that if like these stream games would also just have a dedicated judge, I guess. Like that would be like the next step. But I don't think, other than maybe doing that for the final round because it's the finals, I'm not sure that that's like actually plausible. I don't know.
I
It's
think
just tough
kind of
because. Go ahead.
I think it's kind of a silly ask.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like at major conventions, if you're playing 64 players with 3 judges, sure.
Yeah.
Like you can spare a judge and 64 players can play 2 judges.
Yeah.
Right. When you have 2 judges for 64 players, it's unreasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the solution is. It's just
Maybe that was the genius of the grand tournaments needing so many
Vito,
judges.
stop.
I was thinking about the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to come to a conclusive answer on what we want to do differently for next time we stream. But I do think the conversation is interesting, and I'm guessing people on our Discord will have thoughts and feelings about this that I want to hear about too.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I just like, even though I started the weekend being like very anti-active judging, and I think I'm much more open to it now, and I think it is, especially on the stream table, a much more relevant thing, because I think so much of it I'm taking it from like my aspect of just like watching a game, watching them play a rule wrong, and not being anybody at the tournament, just being a player at the tournament, going, I should not say anything.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do think any change we would make would only apply to streamed games. I think for not streamed games, just waiting to be called to be a judge and then solving this thing brought to you is kind of the only correct way. Because unless you've been sitting there watching the game the whole time, don't try to.
Yeah.
Unless you like walk past and see something obvious. Like I had a game where I walked past where I saw the same thing happen, where somebody didn't mark damage, and I was just like, oh hey, mark damage, and then carried on my way. But that like happened once across every game I walked past.
See, I have this problem with terrain frequently. So like the scaled up version of does a medium base fit on the core box size 2 car?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like,
this is fun.
But without people talking about it ahead of time, where you just like walk past the table and see a model in a place that like it clearly doesn't fit.
Yep.
According to the rules.
Yeah, we gotta let
but
it go.
like neither of the two people are unhappy with it, and you're just like, all right, you guys have fun. Yeah.
Sorry, I walked past a Johnny game where there's Apocalypse standing on top of a building with another model's base like halfway under Apocalypse. Like not a little bit. Like Apocalypse's base is over like halfway eclipsing this dude. And I was like, I really want to know what the fuck happened here. But clearly both players are fine with this arrangement of pieces. So I'm just gonna let it go. But this is super illegal.
Yeah. Huh.
Like, okay, but if that happened on stream, what do we do?
Yeah, I don't know. That's like the question, right? It's like,
right. You gotta have to let the
stream
players.
Games different from other stuff.
So I think like the damage thing is like clearly cut and dry, right? Like when they miss things, but when it's like, hey, somebody puts their model in a spot and nobody says anything, so it's like implied permission.
Yep.
And you as the judge, like there's 3 people at the table. The 2 people playing the game appear to be fine with the positioning of the model, but you as the judge are like, I'm not okay with the positioning of this model. Now what do?
You leave it.
Yeah, I think you leave it. But I also like would be open to the argument of more active being like, hey, this is not a legal position of the model.
Here's my dumb rule.
I see the argument. I don't agree with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. My rule of thumb that needs to be workshopped a little more, because it's kind of like the definition of pornography, is just like the commentator should get involved if it's a thing that's going to get the player accused of cheating, right? Putting your model on top of a car in a slightly weird place, very unlikely anyone's going to take that on the internet and run with it and accuse you of being a cheater, right? Both players agree the model goes there. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you're way less likely to have someone try to start a witch hunt. And that's really the reason I want more active judging in the first place, is to kind of cut that crap off.
Mm-hmm. But it's also like us changing our behavior about, people that shouldn't be doing the thing they're doing in the first place, which I guess is maybe the argument between, like an ideal world in the world we actually live in. But
well, so just as like a counter argument to that, Nate,
Please.
I do think like in my LVO game,
Mhm.
like I do in retrospect wish that had been corrected, just so I didn't continue on with a game that didn't exist.
Mhm.
Or get a game result that was incorrect by the rules.
Mhm.
But I don't think anyone would accuse me of cheating because my opponent was
Counted
tracking their
wrong?
score.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
miscounted. I don't.
Yeah.
I think maybe I haven't actually watched it back, so maybe I was counting it, but I'm pretty positive he counted it and he moved his score tracker and he was just wrong. So and wrong to his detriment, to my benefit. So like certainly nobody would accuse me of cheating if my recollection of that is correct, because I had nothing to do with it. Kind of, I just
Sure.
believed him that
No,
he got the amount of
that's a
points
fair.
that he did. But I do, but I mean that game, like unlike the Sooner example in Squad
Mhm.
Goals,
Mhm.
which did not change the outcome of the game. Schmid won, and
Yeah.
and that yeah,
Mhm.
the thing that happened with my game did impact the outcome. So
No, that's a fair point.
I mean, it did
have-
impact your outcome, but also you probably play the game differently down a point.
I mean, I think that's true, but I don't think that means that I had another way to win. Like, I mean,
It's hard to
maybe
know
not.
without seeing the
I mean,
specifics, but
and
like,
with dice and shit, like I'm sure I literally had a way to win, but like it was going to be a lot harder.
I have sort of a goofy question.
Yeah.
So we talked earlier about the somewhat unique setup. So I don't actually know what the professional casual setup is, but like this idea where at our events the commentators can hear the players but the stream can't.
Mhm.
Do you think the like onus to have the stream police mistakes or things that might appear intentionally wrong would be any different if the only audio going out to the stream was the player mics? Like, if the stream hears the players agree on a thing and they agree on the thing that's wrong, and like that's in the history, that's in the stream, do you think that's any different, or is like,
hmm.
Yeah, it's a
I
little
don't-
weird. Go ahead.
So I don't think it's hugely different, because oftentimes, like in the games, at least when I'm commentating, when that happens, I'll just make a note of it, right? Where like if I hear the players agree to a thing, it's not hard for the commentator to pass that information on to the people watching the stream.
sure,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's tough also because like, well, so yeah, there would no longer be the onus on us to be policing, because like if the stream was just an unfiltered mics of those two players plus the board, we sort of don't exist. Like, I mean, we literally do,
Mhm.
of course, but like we're probably looking at the chat. But I do think that I think the onus would not be on us, but then the viewers would take it on themselves. Like they would
Sure.
be like trying to message us or something like that. Like they'd be like, if I was the judge while that stream was going on, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple people DM'd me on Discord and was like, "Hey
Mhm.
man, you got to fix the stream table. It's all fucked up." You know, like so I think it would no longer be on us as commentators, but then it would still be on whoever's running the event, I think. And it would still be, people would still, I think, be asking for us to intercede, you know? So,
Sure.
I also don't think there's ever a world you would convince me to do that as a streaming setup.
didn't we do that in Guild Ball? Like, I'm trying to, I feel like we produced videos on like a stream at one point where it was literally just you could hear us talking while we were playing Guild Ball. No, it wasn't on Vince's channel. I remember streaming this once, Pat, in our basement.
Was it when we were testing the stream
That
setup?
seems possible.
Is
don't
it
know.
the moment of Bat Pat?
It
might
was
be the-
Bad Pat. That was an example of it. Yeah, exactly.
God, deep cut. Nobody's gonna get this.
It's
Yeah, but
still
also-
my current Discord image.
Yeah, it's his Discord image. But also, I mean, I agree with Nate though that I would never do that for like a wider stream probably nowadays. And I also think that probably players, at least at a tournament, would like it less. Like the thing I'm remembering from
for
Guild Ball
sure.
was just like us casually playing, and like the
Yeah,
idea
if we want to fuck
was-
around on stream and do it, that's fine. But we're not.
And the
gonna have
idea
random
was that
players.
like people would enjoy listening to us talk through the game while we were working on it, right? Whereas a tournament game is totally different. Like I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think the
100%.
players would like that, and I think it would be a worse viewer experience. But yeah,
I think it would be more interesting in some ways, but yeah, I don't think it's a thing we'll ever do, and mostly because I think people would, or players would like it less, and it becomes like
a lot of
a much
players
bigger
don't
ask.
wanna do it, yeah.
But it feels more honest to me. Of like if you watch back the thing and a mistake happens, and they just like kind of don't talk about it, I think it like more authentically reads as a mistake or like an oversight than if you just like hear commentators not mention it because nobody noticed it. Like just because there's a layer of indirection removed, right? Like
the more layers of artifice in between the two things, the easier it is for a player to be like, they're cheating.
Yeah, but I also think you would run into
with this though.
You would run into people watching the stream and trying to like psychoanalyze the players based on like how they're talking about it and stuff like that.
Sure.
I think that would be shitty in a different way. Like,
we're not
I
doing
definitely like the way that we do it the best, but
I also think that like in the case, one of the cases we talked about with missing marked damage, the players didn't talk about it, right?
That's true,
it was, I did 2 damage. Okay. Grab the 2 power, forget to mark the damage. Things move on, right? There was nothing else the players said about the situation that's going to make it feel better.
Well, right. But that makes it like,
but like the understanding of why the damage was missed because of like an immediate question or something coming up.
Well, I think wait, we're talking about this like somebody accused Sooner of cheating. Nobody has accused Sooner of cheating.
Correct.
No,
yes.
but like, and I think that would be true regardless of whether you heard Sooner and Schmidt's mics or us talking. I think that like, I think that the difference, I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess in a circumstance like that, I'm not sure there would be a difference. Because I think also in the other circumstance, even if Sooner knew that nobody would accuse him of cheating, which I don't think he thinks anybody did, I think he would still want it fixed. Like in retrospect, like if he heard, like it would just be, instead of Nate telling him 5 minutes after the game was over, it would be sort of the same way that I heard about my game. It would be like a few days later, I look at the stream or look at somebody talking about it in Discord, and they're like, "Hey, just so you know, there was a point missed." It's like I think the players would still look back at that and be like, "Damn, I wish somebody had told me." Because I think it's just it being streamed at all, regardless of what amount of filters it is, as long as there's enough eyes on it that even if both players missed something, somebody else is going to catch it. At that point, they want to be corrected, right? I think that's...
Yeah. Okay. I think we've kind of beat this to death.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Do we want to move into our next segment? Announcements?
Oh, yeah. Finally, we can start the podcast.
You can rearrange this, right, Vince?
I won't.
This is good flow. This is good flow.
You could.
And make sure to put the stuff in about the erotica beforehand.
Oh boy, stay tuned. I guess I'm stuck putting that in. Yep. Hey, Nate, you said I'm a miserable person or something, so you're handling this segment.
Oh, I'm doing one and you're doing the other.
Oh, okay.
Because I keep coughing. I'm trying to not cough into the mic as best as I can. So we have 2 events we want to plug for people. So the WTC. The WTC is going to happen October 25th and 26th in Copenhagen. The signups close for teams May 31st. So you have until the end of this month to get your team together and get your information in there. mcpwtc.com for website, more information. Not overlapping with Second Wind this year. None of us are still going to be able to go because they're like a week apart, but technically no overlap this year, so you can do both.
We've got plans for next year,
the triple header of LVO, WTC, Second Wind, WTC.
Yeah, do the Ironman. Anyone who complete the Ironman, I'll give you activated tokens or something.
That would be really cool.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Nate can't count, so I'm going to do 2 more plugs.
Well, I thought you were going to pass one off too.
Oh, okay. Ooh. I don't know which one to pass off, so I'm just going to do both. You guys should come to CarlCon. CarlCon's in September. CarlCon.net. It's still got tickets left, unlike the event we're going to talk about after this, that everyone's going to be mad at me about, as they always are. But CarlCon rules. All 4 of us are going to be at CarlCon. It's in Sacramento in September when, Midwest is getting a little bit chilly. When I come out to California, play some miniatures in some like decent weather.
Chicago was definitely still hot as hell at the beginning of September, but yeah.
But it's at like the well, okay, fine.
It's September 6th and 7th. It's the early September, but
yeah.
But people should still come to ColorCon. We will all be there. That part was correct.
Come to ColorCon. I believe tickets are still priced way too low, if I recall.
Yeah, $40.
Yeah, it's
literally 20. It's a bargain.
Yeah, literally $20 cheaper than Second Wind.
Stock up on ColorCon tickets now. They can only increase in value.
Yeah, it helps a lot when your venue provides tables and chairs. The price is a lot easier to manage that way.
Yep,
I'm looking forward to playing on Carl's cool bespoke tables.
He's on track to have 32 distinct, uniquely themed boards, all handcrafted by himself.
That's fucking crazy.
It's insane. It's fucking unbelievable.
Oh,
yeah.
And it's a LVO qualifier.
Oh,
right.
Go.
So if you're going to do the Iron Man, then you need to get qualified for LVO before you show up. Come to CarlCon.
And also the winner of LVO can qualify for Second Wind. So CarlCon is also a Second Wind qualifier.
That's right.
Okay, and then we have Second Wind. If you only listen to this podcast as your only source of Marvel Crisis Protocol media, I'm really sorry because we didn't podcast for like 2 months. And so we booked the venue, put out ads about it, and never once came across this feed. Tickets are sold out. My bad.
So clearly we don't have to. If you know, you know, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And based on the fact that it didn't sell out in 9 minutes, we probably didn't advertise it well enough. But we still sold out in 1 day. But you can get on the wait list. And as always, Second Wind has a super flexible return policy. Because the only thing I really care about is selling out so I know the budget. And 2, having the event be as full as possible, which are kind of the same thing. So if you can't go, tell me, and if I can sell your ticket to someone else, I will give you your money back in full. Right? So get on the wait list. We usually go through like 20 people because the $60 to just like hang up and be like, well, I don't know if I can go because a trip to Chicago is almost certainly, like, unless you live in Chicago, your trip to come to Second Wind is going to be more expensive than the ticket to go to Second Wind. So lots of people just book their tickets being like, I think I want to go to the best Marvel event in the year. And they just buy their tickets and then they find out they can't go or something happens or whatever. They drop their tickets and then people from the waitlist get in. Waitlist is super short right now because, again, I guess I didn't do a good job advertising it this year. Mm-hmm. All right. I think slot 4 is literally available as we record this, which slot 4 has never not got in.
Let's go.
Slot 12 has never not gotten in.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So sign up for the waitlist. If you don't know how to do that, go to secondwindchicago.com and go to the registration tab and find out how to do that. And come to the best Marvel Crisis Protocol event in the country.
One of the best.
It's top 2 and it's not number 2, baby.
I mean, Squad Goals was really good this year. That's true. I mean, I've been resting on my laurels too long, apparently.
It's the only actually Chicago big event.
That's true.
Legally Chicago event.
Barely legally in Chicago.
It might be the only legally Chicago MCP event this year.
Actually, I think there was actually one that counter-programmed Squad Goals last week. But
really?
But it wasn't at Mojo, right? Like,
no, it was at the other store.
Which is not in Chicago.
No, it's in Chicago.
No, he's saying one in Chicago.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Good Games is in Chicago.
How many? If they had a multiple of 3, we should have just gone and grabbed them.
I don't know. I saw this morning, so.
I know you guys are paying $20 for this event, but what if you paid $30 more each?
I
came to a way cooler event.
I think if we were drafting them, I would just not take their money. Like, we had already paid for everything. So if we're drafting them day of, you can get in for much cheaper.
Oh, that's
show over the van outside and be like, you guys want to go somewhere cool?
Get in the van.
Yeah.
Well, you have to live in Chicago for this deal, and you have to have a name I don't recognize.
Balix Otts.
We have to come up with a better solution for ringers next year.
Yeah, we should draft them ahead of time, and we should get our fucking flake friends to show up.
If you have any ideas, put them in the final box of the Squad Goals survey that will be coming soon.
And comment below.
Yes.
Yeah, that too. On Vince's YouTube
6
channel.
years.
Yeah. Okay, that's been everybody's favorite segment, announcements. Now on to our next segment. Squad goals, but this time we're not talking about broadcasting. We're talking about the quote-unquote game that was quote-unquote played at Squad Goals. Marvel Crisis Protocol podcast.
We have to.
Avengers strong. Midnight Suns
Avengers
strong.
Good. Midnight Suns good? Question mark? Did they do good? I don't actually know. I mean, one of them.
The final two teams both had Midnight Suns in it.
Yeah, but one of them lost.
Yeah, but like to Avengers, right?
No,
to Apocalypse.
To Apocalypse.
Yeah. Midnight Suns ended the weekend 24-24.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
What?
Exactly 50-50.
Oh, 24-24. I thought you were saying 24 of 24. I was like, oh, no. Shit.
I was like, literally undefeated. Like, they played 24 games. They lost
I think I watched that not be true, but also, what the fuck?
Avengers were 27 wins, 20 losses. So 7% better win rate than Midnight Suns.
Wow.
I mean, it's hard to talk about win rates because the sample sizes are all still kind of goofily small.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's only 5 rounds.
I do think Avengers had a stronger performance than Midnight Suns.
I think. I think Avengers is probably the best thing in the game right now.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think Midnight Suns is far behind.
No, I agree with you, but
I think Suns are fairly well set up into Avengers as well. I think the matchup is probably pretty close.
I think it's favored Avengers, but maybe it's close. Yeah,
I think it's favored Avengers by a good bit, actually.
I think they're extremely cringe and are very hard for Midnight Suns to deal with on account of Cable. And other stuff, but especially Cable. Fuck that guy. Yeah.
Okay.
But sorry, go.
My big takeaways. Good lists in Marvel right now. Play Hulk. Great lists play anti-Hulk tech. The best lists play both.
Hell yeah. So it's finally we have a good meta after 4 years of this game.
There's one kaiju that lives. It's Hulk. God help us if he's ever in this version and not good.
There's multiple.
By your own definition, aren't there 3 kaijus or 4? I guess if you also count Hulkbuster.
Yeah,
there's Hulk, and Hulk.
No, there's Hulk, and APOC.
Yeah.
Oh, and APOC. Yeah. True. Is he a Hulk? Would you say?
No, he's not Hulk posing at all.
Yeah, you're right.
Wait, can't you make him?
No,
can't you do that to anything?
His feet are kind of stuck, parallel to one another is the real problem.
So
you just do the arms a bit.
To do it.
Oh god, I should not have opened this can of worms. What did I do?
It's really important that people know what Hulk posing is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
water it down.
Can't imagine.
Yeah, I agree with you though that the metagame right now is revolving around factions that play Hulks. Although not all the time. I really do think the correct way to play Midnight Suns involves a fair amount of your games, not including Immortal Hulk. But he should. He has to be. I think he has to be in your 10 if you want.
Yes,
totally.
List. But I don't think you play him every game. Whereas, I think so. I think both Curtis and DeLuca, who were the Avengers players in the top 2 teams, they had game. Well, both of them also had off affiliations. They didn't even play Avengers the whole time. But even when they were playing Avengers, they did not play Hulk every single game. I think their finals game, where they played against each other, so mirror match, both of them went wide. Neither of them played their Hulk. But I think probably the Avengers is more likely to play Hulk every single game in a tournament than Midnight Suns is. I think that's totally reasonable to expect. Especially in a normal singles event, because probably part of that had to do with how crises work. But
point of correction, not that it's a big. DeLuca did not have Hulk.
He didn't have Hulk?
No, they gave it to Sooner.
There were 2 Avengers,
right, for his X-Men thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, there you go.
She-Hulk as his Hulk.
Right. I knew he had She-Hulk, but he didn't play her. Did he? Do you remember talking to him? If he played her when he was playing Avengers? I know he played her when he was A-Force, obviously, but
I don't think so, but I
don't think he plans to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't
think
think there
so
just
either,
for the affiliation. Like,
I wish I knew.
I know
what
that he
squad
played all of
in
his
that final.
All of his teams, but
yeah. I don't think he played it in the finals. I think I remember what Curtis said their 2 lists were.
Okay.
Because there was only one difference. It was between Luke Cage and Sam, and
that makes sense.
Curtis doesn't even have She-Hulk, so therefore She-Hulk was not played.
I think the biggest takeaway from the weekend is the new Avengers shell is very strong, and I kind of didn't realize going into the weekend how strong it was, and that's playing Steve 1, Hulk, Shang, Gorgon.
Yeah. The Gorgon was big, huge, and large this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think
go ahead.
The first 3 models he listed are just like kind of insane. Obviously, Hulk, best 6th threat in the game. Shang-Chi, either the best or in the argument for the best 4th threat in the game. Both affiliated Avengers, both get a lot of mileage out of the Steve 1 leadership. Just those 3 models alone, I think, are kind of nuts. I have played 1 game with this Avengers shell today, and it feels even me playing it badly, the list feels disgusting. Like I very quickly, once we got going, I was like, oh yeah, this is what top tier shit feels like in Marvel. This is not great. And I wasn't playing Gorgon, but I think Gorgon is such a perfect addition for that list, for the Vince checklist of anti-Hulk tech. Right, that's what Gorgon is, like the best 3 threat at dealing with Hulk, I think.
Which is a wild thing to be a 3 threat. To be your role as a 3 threat. Be like, oh, I'm good into the best 6 threat in the game. I cost half as much.
I mean, he doesn't like hard counter Hulk or anything, but he has some anti-Hulk stuff going on, which is
really
a lot of
good
at
like displacement plus stagger on the same action.
It's really good. Yeah,
it's really good. Like no other 3 threat does anything close to that.
I mean,
Black Cat does exactly that.
Black Cat is sort of close to that in a different way against something like
Groot. Really displays size 4s with I Am Groot. Is it
Groot displays any fucking size. Groot don't care. And he throws a medium. He can throw a Sentinel medium and stagger it because Groot is awesome.
But yeah, the thing you listed also, that it was the quote unquote new shell, was Steve Cable. I mean, excuse me, Steve Hulk, Shang-Chi, Gorgon. I think is like the sort of most straightforward way that these Avengers players have all like figured out how to adapt to the crisis changes, because like I thought about this list as being based on the 15 of Steve Cable Hulk before the crisis changes. When Gamma was a 15 that existed, and Researcher, and 15 existed. But now that stuff is gone. There's no 15s at all, and 17 is by far the most common number. So you could still do that. You could play those 3 models, and then, because they're all Avengers affiliated, you could toss whatever Splash 2 in there that you want for the 17. But I think if you're expecting to play 17 like over and over and over again, switching out Cable and a 2 for Gorgon and Shang just makes total sense. And like you don't really lose much. I mean, you lose the super strong defensive stacking, and you also lose a safe grab from Cable. But I think that most of the Avengers players have been feeling, at least when I was talking to them at the event, they've been feeling like the safe grab wasn't as big of a deal. The missing the Incinerate is, of course, a shame, but you gain just like a insanely high quality attacks out of both Shang-Chi and Gorgon for their cost, just like comically like the best attacks in the game. As soon as Gorgon is starting to use his spender with a charge, it's just like nuts. So
3 of those 4 models have stagger.
Yep.
And 3 of those 4 models have effortless displacement.
Yep.
Yeah. And like
wait, 4 of the 4 models have effortless displacement, really?
The cost on Gorgon Spender, I would say, is effort.
Oh, okay.
I think paying 4.
Okay, that's fine.
For a spender is not effortless.
Okay, valid.
But and like Like in one of the stream games, the one between Conan and Curtis, which I think is round 5,
4.
Or I'm sorry, round 4. 5 is the finals. Sorry, I thought 6. Yeah, round 4. Like just so that was a mirror match. They were both playing Avengers. Their lists are a little bit different, but they were both playing Avengers. The sheer number of staggers that were applied in that game was absurd. It was just like staggered. Everything was fucking staggered. Like and it's just like, I mean, it really underlines how nuts that game is, that list is. And also, I think it's worth so this game nobody clocked out, but by the end of the game, Conan and Curtis were both extremely close to clocking out. Like they were both under 5 minutes. And like, I think the fact that that list is insanely tanky and insanely good at displacing and staggering, like you guys are saying, it's just that it takes, even when you're losing with that list, it takes for fucking ever to lose. And if it's a mirror match, it's like, Jesus Christ, this is going to take like all day. Like it's such a like miserable mountain list. It's crazy.
Watching that game this morning, because I remember a bunch of people saying that was like maybe the most interesting game we got streamed of all of them, because it was apparently very back and forth, and just like watching the turn one of all these models with their 1-cost charges charging into each other and then doing no damage. So because there's like one of the inhuman weapons on the center that both players are trying to pick up, but their models just refuse to do damage with their charge.
Yeah, so they can't even
keep bouncing off one another. It's so fucking goofy.
And that's the other thing about the list too. Yeah, I mean, it is goofy, and it feels like sort of what you would expect from that mirror match, honestly. But the other thing is that just that list, it doesn't have like a turn 1 gimmick exactly. Like there's not like the Black Bolt gets teleported up and then refuges forward and double tap somebody, or like, old Malekith, all the like old like super goofy like turn 1 gimmicks. But it's just uniformly across the board threatening turn 1, which is just an insanely good thing to have, and you don't have to do tricks for it. It's just like all of my models can do that if I want them to, except for Steve, but who cares? And he can still throw a shield, I guess. So yeah, it's just nasty. It's just nasty.
The Sam Wilson getting to charge on turn 1 and rip off possibly 4 attacks is disgusting as always.
Yeah, exactly. And like it scales to threat levels well, totally reasonably. You just add another busted 3 at 20 if you get on 20, which is sick.
I really like the Sam Wilson airlift on turn 1, and now Shang-Chi can just charge the middle line and not have to walk charge the middle line.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
And get to make an attack. Like, oh.
Yeah. And you could even, if for some reason you didn't want Sam, I think Sam is the right choice there, but you could do Zemo, you could do Luke Cage. Like there's like a million options you could do there. And people are playing Black Panther as an option too. Curtis had that. I thought it looked really good. I mean, that's not new. I mean,
especially because of the reserve members gimmick.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It gives another
gives you another leader. Yep.
Yeah.
I say gimmick, but it's probably not a gimmick. It's probably just good.
No, it is just good because the only thing that like Gorgon that sort of sucks about Gorgon or like makes him feel like a 3 threat is his best effects are wild triggers. Like all of his attacks have a wild trigger and they're all really good. But Zemo, reserve member Zemo, I already thought was really, really good just because Zemo's dice are so good. But this is like an even better use of reserve member, I think, because it makes it just helps you ensure that the stagger on the spender is way more likely, or getting a stun early on your charge, stuff like that. It's really nice. So
makes him a little more durable too, which is nice to have because he's definitely, it's a list of really tanky models. He's definitely the squishiest guy in the group.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys undersold reserve members when you convinced me to play Avengers.
Okay.
Did not know it worked on attacks at all.
What? I sold it to you on Miles.
That's the sell.
Yeah. No, I thought you were just like, Miles is so tanky. He's got an extra defense dice.
What? No, it's the attack dice is why it's there.
That's absurd.
You're not listening.
I mean,
that's on you. We definitely explained that to you. Yeah, every turn, one of your attacks and one of your defense rolls will get a bonus die, as long as you're within 2 of somebody. And remember, it's somebody with a leadership, not just an active leadership, but any leadership.
Not just an Avengers leadership, but
yeah, they just have to have a printed leadership.
I just completely misunderstood it. I thought it was I know we talked about this earlier in the episode. Before that, I thought it was every attack and only defense.
But, and that is so. That's like when you play that 17, you probably don't play reserve members all that often because Steve is the only printed leadership. But if your list has Cable or Sam or
Panther.
Panther.
I saw Curtis was playing Jane, who I think is really great in this list.
Yeah, also Jane. Like all of those also activate the reserve member, so you end up finding ways. I mean, you don't do it all the time, but when you have
playing
like
two leaders, the card is easy to play.
Sure.
Anyway, yeah. So I think that's like pretty. It's not controversial. Everybody was saying this, but I think that's my pick for best faction right now.
Yeah, I mean the thing that surprised me about that list is because I kind of knew roughly of its existence, right? Like you said, Pat was playing the old version of it, and I'd been following some of the updates people made to the new crisis and stuff. But going into this event, I had been convinced by people that Apocalypse was the best thing in the game, which was backed by Apocalypse players I know. Johnny loved to say his only bad matchup was into Apocalypse. And I don't, Johnny likes to talk big, but he's not saying that for no reason.
Yeah.
That is a strong argument. And also, if you look at Longshank's data, Apocalypse has by far the best win rate of anything in the game. Like 60% going into this event, where the next highest was Web Warriors at 56. So like I was pretty convinced Apocalypse was the best thing in the game. And I still think he's very, very good. But watching some of these Avengers games and then playing it a little bit myself, I'm more willing to believe that the Avengers thing is better than the Apocalypse thing. What I don't know about that matchup is so funny talking to people about this. Everyone has a different opinion on whether or not Hulk is good into Apocalypse. I've heard lots of good and smart players be like, oh no, Hulk's great in there because you just throw Apocalypse away, right? Because he hates being displaced, and then you go do other stuff. And then I've heard other people playing, it's like, no, I hate playing my Hulk into Apocalypse because you get like 2 conditions on him, and then the build your own Helios laser just trucks Hulk off the table. And I don't know who I believe that wins the head-to-head here.
This is not exactly the same question, but I feel like Immortal Hulk is really good into Apocalypse, but when I have problems with that matchup as Midnight Suns, it's more the other stuff. Like it feels like it's pretty easy for his cronies to exploit some of the weaknesses and sort of fragility of the other Midnight Suns models, but like Immortal Hulk feels like a slam dunk in that matchup to me, just because Apocalypse kind of can't be anywhere near his own team. Like it's like really easy for Immortal Hulk to make him a massive liability and like throw him 2 or even 3 times in an activation and maybe kill Apocalypse, but also kill 2 other guys. And so
I fully believe Immortal Hulk is great into that because, like you said, the extra throws make a big difference. And then also the immortality thing does matter, right? Like getting to days is a big deal when you're talking about a Helios laser style attack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's one gate, and it's like not a huge gate, but it makes it
better than no gate.
Better than no gate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do think I think Apocalypse is really good, and I think that list is probably the best version of that type of list that exists right now. Like it's like the kind of mixed like attrition and victory points with like a condition thing. Like I think he's like clearly the best at that. And he also has like a benefit in the team format in that he overlaps with X-Men, but other than that kind of doesn't overlap with anybody, which is really, really nice. So I think really, really strong pick in team format. And I think that like one of the reasons the Meatmen won because they were playing Midnight Suns, Avengers, Apocalypse. And like I kind of think those would just, if I didn't know who the players were and it wasn't about player comfort, I kind of think those are just the factions that I would pick for a team event right now. Like I
agree.
I don't know that it would be the exact same 10s or whatever, but like I would probably just pick those 3. So
do you want to go into why you would pick those 3? So like we've talked about Avengers and Midnight Suns being like probably the 2 S tier factions, unless you disagree with Midnight Suns there. So why is APOC the 3rd?
Well, I mean, I think it's mostly the overlap. So I definitely think all 3 are really strong, and then it's the overlap thing. I think they're fighting over very few things between the 3 of them, and that includes crises because like we did like singleton crises or whatever you want to call it for this event, which we didn't do last year. And I think that like I think Midnight Suns are pretty flexible about what crises they take right now. They're like good ones and bad ones. I think there's like a really clear archetype of crises that Avengers want to take to like bunch things up and make like at most 2 separate fights. And then there's a pretty clear set of crises that Apocalypse wants to take that's like spread out and VPs and like making the conditions really hurt you over the course of the game. And then Midnight Suns can just take whatever. And I think that works really well. So those would be my picks. I mean, like you could also swap in. There are some other affiliations like webs that don't take a lot of other people's stuff. As long as nobody wants Miles, but what?
Okay, so I agree with you. Like the reason that Apocalypse, I think he is the strongest thing that takes nothing from the other two strong things. I think that like the next two highest are webs and CS. And webs and CS are kind of tough in team tournaments because they kind of require 100% of their tools to be strong.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Totally.
Right, like webs can't really give up any of the Web Warrior 3s, and like also kind of want several of the meta pieces. Like they want Shang or Bill. They kind of want a lot of builds want Zemo. Some builds play Namor, although Namor are like way represented here.
They want a Toad.
They want Toad, and then they also there are lots of Web Warrior builds that have Hulk in it as well.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah,
I mean, like, he's just a character you can put literally in any team, and he's like,
well, that's
good.
True, but
yeah,
I mean,
the web's roster is very greedy in that way.
Yeah,
and CS somewhat similar.
I also think Convocation might be good in this format for sort of the same reason. And Zach Cohen was the only person who played Convocation, but he did go 5-0. But for sort of the same reason, they do actually have some overlap with like other affiliations, I think. But they're kind of affiliations that no one's playing. It's just Midnight Suns. It's like Midnight Suns and Convocation are pals, so you could not play both really. But you could choose one
model
of them
that overlaps, right?
What'd you say? Sorry.
They literally have two, but really only one, right?
What is?
So they're both fighting over. Yeah, they're fighting over Wong and Voodoo, and like really, they both want Voodoo. Wong, I don't think Midnight Suns need at all.
Well, no, I mean I agree with that, but I guess Voodoo feels mandatory to both. Like I don't think.
Yes, I mean
don't
I
think there's
agree
a
with that
reason
there.
to play. Yeah.
Like I do think it's a big enough thing to be like, hey, maybe we should be on different teams, or one of us should play something else.
Yeah, it's like really non-negotiable. It's like if two factions use Steve 1 as a leader, be like, okay, well, can't play both.
It's like playing Defenders and Avengers. It's like, okay,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, our rosters are the same.
So I want to back up here real quick because I want Vince to put himself on the spot here and put him on the record. Vince, you are the number one Apocalypse doubter and Apocalypse hater.
Are you
Why?
even more so than Zach Cohen? Zach Cohen.
So I think this is like a version of me that existed 6 months ago, right? Like Apocalypse, I kind of called Malekith. I kind of treated like I treated Malekith when he came out. Where I thought he was like doing something very simple in a very uninteresting, difficult way.
Okay.
And this is before I think the meta and like the good Apocalypse players really unlocked, or at least proved to me, which maybe are like the same thing in my eyes, that like Pestilence was the key to unlocking that faction. Right before I saw like really like strong turn 1 Pestilence plays, really a lot of talk about which Pestilence model you play and like how you get those conditions out early to enable a lot of the nasty stuff he does. And also a little bit before, like, I don't think it was as obvious how much Apocalypse preyed on 3 threats. Because Apocalypse is like, there's essentially no 3 threat he doesn't kill on turn 1 out of every 5 times. He can like essentially like if you put a 3 threat on a point, Apocalypse can take like a 1 in 5 to kill it by just like walk, hop, punch it, and it like 1 in 5 times just dies. And that feels bad.
Sure does.
That doesn't. I mean, so like, okay, Nate and I talked a very small amount about this, but like, that's not a big number. It's like a big number in the sense of like it being completely non-interactive, but like in an absolute sense, like it's far from guaranteed.
No, but it's also kind of free to attempt most of the times.
Okay.
Yeah, like you attempt it for free, and then like missing it can also just set you up for great things the next turn. Where you're like, oh no, I left Iron Man on 1 hit point, which I think is like probably the hardest 3 for him to kill.
So what is like the scary version of that? Is it when he has last activation or not?
Probably second to last activation, and it's either go way down on points or don't put anything on any points. You know, like because he can target any secure in the whole game if you deploy him in the middle, and terrain doesn't bone him. And
yeah,
like,
I think
the
implied
terrain
thing
rarely
is
does.
there is that you don't need him to be the last activation of the turn, because if you're on the second to last activation, your opponent has probably put stuff on points already anyway, like 3 threats.
Sure, but you also have more activations to like punish him for coming to interact with your close secures.
You've
one activation.
Yeah. Okay.
Like last activation with Prio is the scariest time to like play against Apocalypse, and Apocalypse has Prio.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, do you have a model that is beefy enough to like meaningfully threaten Apocalypse on 1 action?
Yeah, like I mean that seems hard, but like okay. I guess I wanted to understand what the problematic version of that was, because I know he can go anywhere, but like that's to some degree true of a lot of things, but you like have to worry about over committing them.
It's like a very, very fair version of what Thanos was doing.
Okay.
Because like the attack is range 3, so he doesn't have to like overcommit that hard. And usually, I do think the scariest thing is like when the Apocalypse player has priority, because one of the things about Apocalypse that is kind of annoying is that he is perfectly happy going first or last activation in a turn, which isn't really true. Like Hulk always wants to go last. You leave a lot of Hulk value on the table if he's your first activation. But Apocalypse only kill, right? That's all he know how to do is kill. So like him going at the end of 1, doing some damage to a 3 threat, you can maybe do something to him, maybe not. Then he starts the next turn, makes 2 attacks and leaves.
Okay.
Is a lot of free attrition he's doing, which isn't really have to overextend himself.
Yeah, like you have to overextend yourself for exactly 1 activation.
Yeah, and a lot of times you're like on the midline doing that.
Okay, that's fair. I kind of wanted to understand like,
and sometimes you're 5 inches from the midline doing that.
Yeah, if your opponent puts something on the midline, they're going to have a real bad time. But
sure,
yeah, and you're punching it from 6 inches away. It's like an inch and a half back, so you're like 4.5 inches from the midline, which is like uninteractable for like most of the game.
I don't think any of this is busted, right? Like when we're talking about this as a problem, it definitely doesn't come anywhere close to touching the CGR, Malekith, whatever shit. But it can be real obnoxious to deal with.
Sure. Yeah, and we're talking about this, like, just to back up a little bit, we're talking about this in the context of like things I did not understand why Apocalypse was strong when I made the assessment that has like been branded to me longer than I had those thoughts. So like, I think I undervalued a lot of that. And like, so Apocalypse was very popular, 3rd most popular thing in the game, or at Squad Goals. I think a lot of it on the back of like being strong and not overlapping a lot of stuff. But he didn't perform particularly well in the aggregate. Like he was on the winning team.
Yep.
But outside of that, he didn't do super, super well.
21 wins, 24 losses, 47% win rate.
Right, which is like his ass. You know, well below his win rate across the game.
Yes.
And like low for what you would want like a power thing to be.
Yes.
And I think statistics can tell you lots of stuff, but you kind of need to like ascribe a story to what the stats tell you. And I personally think there's kind of 2 things going on here. I think 1, there were some players that were picked up Apocalypse for this event
Yes.
Or like where this is not their one, maybe it's their two, maybe they're like very good players with Apocalypse, but it's not like their main thing. And they picked it up for it because somebody has to play their alt faction to make the math work.
Mm-hmm.
And Apocalypse is very strong and like their second most played thing. And then I think that clashed with the fact that because Apocalypse's win rate is so high right now, that a lot of people have tech for Apocalypse. A lot of people have a plan for Apocalypse.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people dropped their Apocalypse list into people that have either more or similar numbers of reps against the player playing Apocalypse. So it's like, I have played almost as many games against Apocalypse as you have played Apocalypse games.
And I brought tech as well on top of
it. Yeah, and I have tech for it. I'm our Apocalypse drop, so you're also getting a worse matchup than you would get in singles.
Definitely. I think all of that is factually true. Like we had people on our Discord come in and say, "Yeah, I picked up Apocalypse for this event." Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was. I'm the pay to put player. They're the strongest pay to hope thing. You know, like you said, people saw the win rate on Longshanks being 60. It's like, well, shit, Apocalypse is really good. We should probably have the 60% win rate faction on our team. So I'll go figure this out. So I think there was a lot of that, and I do think Apocalypse is non-trivial to pick up and get running with. Right? I don't think it's like crazy complicated, but it is one of the harder factions to pick up in Marvel, which I think got disguised when it came out because people weren't good at playing against it. But I really do think there's something to what you're saying where that a lot of they had a player on the team who's like, you're our Apocalypse drop, right? You're our anti-Apocalypse guy. If we see an APOC, you're getting it. And that matchup and that type of teching for is absolutely going to hamper his win rate.
And I actually think you're underselling a little bit. I think almost every team had two guys that were very comfortable with Apocalypse, which like makes the problem much bigger.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so what? Another question, which is like, where were all the Inhumans players? That was like the biggest surprise to me about the.
Did that box come out? Is it actually available? Can you buy it in the US?
Yeah.
In the US, not in Europe and Canada, but it's in the US. Or I think some parts of Europe got it, but.
So I think a lot of it is that Gorgon, so strong in Avengers, build Inhumans list without one of their very strong threes.
Well, that's what people have been doing with Inhumans up until now anyway. They've been playing with a bunch of garbage threes. They still do okay.
I think it's a couple things. I think, for one, the Inhumans as characters are fucking lame. And that will always keep their popularity down at least a little bit, right? Like, this is a Marvel game.
A man named Black Garble.
That's the best part of Inhumans. Yeah. Like,
yeah, that's all you see in the game. It's you don't have to listen to them talk, thank God. You just read their stupid name.
Imagine if Lockjaw's name was like Dogagon Lockajaw.
Lockagar Jawgon, yeah.
Boss, do you know what Gorgon's name is?
Gorgon.
I don't actually. I just assumed it was Gorgon.
I mean,
and I typed it. I wrote it out, putting it in MCTB.
His first name is Gorgon.
Okay.
Petragon. Gorgon Petragon.
Yeah, it has a gun.
This faction is great. They've got more character than all these other fucking factions. Avengers? What are they? Oh, they're American? Yeah. Wow, amazing.
What is this web warrior? Everybody's named Spite or something.
Dude. I hate web warriors. Why do they? Okay. Nobody will ever get me to play Shatterpoint because every Shatterpoint list is like one guy I recognize, which is like Darth Vader or whatever the fuck, who already kind of looks like everyone else anyway. I just happen to know that it's Darth Vader because I watch the movies. And then 50 fucking people wearing the same outfit.
Yep.
Every time I play against web warriors, it's like I'm playing Shatterpoint. It's a bunch of fucking. It's everybody dressed up the same and doing the same fucking pose. They even like, including the new cards, Spider 2099 or whatever, and and Spider Noir, who doesn't have a card, but they like showed his art, right? His card art. There are 5 motherfuckers doing the same pose in their card art. The like one hand down and across their chest because they're like pole vaulting over their own webs. I like collected all 5 of them in a MS Paint image, just to post on Discord and be mad about, and then the conversation moved on. But like,
Wait,
so I didn't post
see
it. But
fuck
but
you!
like,
I want to see this now.
it's like they can't even draw these guys different when as artists without like 3-dimensional problems. Sculpting is hard, but when you're just drawing it, you could draw. Well, drawing is less limited. It's not
more
easy.
flexible.
It's very hard, but you can do anything you want. You don't have to follow physics. You don't have to follow like weight or amount or cost of plastic. It doesn't have to be buildable. And they still drew 5 of these motherfuckers in the same outfit, except one of them's black.
Wait, you
doing the same
image
pose.
Are you counting the reverse sides?
Yes, because it's Amazing Spider-Man, or I think it's Amazing Spider-Man's injured side, and then 4 healthy sides. I think.
No, it's Amazing's healthy side.
Scarlet Spider is also pretty sketchy, unless you're talking about the back.
Which one's
Scarlet?
I don't even know if I considered Scarlet Spider.
Find the 5 for us, because we have.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't either Scarlet Spider. It was. Keep going, Vince. But
I just want to summarize Alex's point here real quick. Spider posing, whack. Hulk posing, based.
That's correct.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
because there's way more people in the game Hulk posing, which I would
all
argue
wearing the same suit.
Okay, but Hulk posing is also about making fun of the people who made these models. Like a little bit. Like I think they do great sculpting, but it's like teasing them about how they keep doing this pose by accident. Spider posing is something that they are opting into, and every time they print a new one, everybody's soy faces on the internet is like, "Yo, it's my favorite Spider-Man." It's like, yeah, man. What about the other 20 Spider-Men in the video game? It's like, what the fuck? And every time they release, it's like, oh, finally they put Spider-Man in. I've been waiting for Spider-Man this whole time. I've only been able to play the other 8 Spider-Men that look exactly the fucking same, have 8 out of the 10 same rules, and are the same fucking guy.
Okay, real quick time out here. We need to slip a very short aside into a segment called Alex Explains the Internet to Vince. What are soy faces? Can you explain soy faces to me?
Soy facing. You're gonna have to. Okay, so you've seen these meme images before, but you've never.
No, this is an audio format, buddy. You gotta.
Yeah, I know. So soy facing is a derogatory term for when people are excited about something nerdy or cringy, and they point at it with like an excited expression with their mouth wide open, like they're going like "oh" or "whoa" or whatever. And you've seen it. Anybody who's been on the
I need a third sound.
No, I won't lower myself to that. And anybody who's been on the internet for any amount of time has seen at least some version of the soy face, either because they've looked at a Mr. Beast YouTube thumbnail, or because they have seen the macro meme format that is like 2 dudes facing you with their mouth open in excitement and like pointing back behind them. And I posted it in our chat only for Vince, because obviously all of our listeners are not in chat, but I think everybody knows what I'm talking about except for Vince. And the point is that it's like sort of over enthusiastic to the point of cringiness excitement about something. And I don't like Spider-Man. I don't actually care about Spider-Man.
Wow.
I don't. I've read some Spider-Man comics when I was a kid, and they were good. I'm pro teenage angst in general, but I am anti an entire faction of the same model.
Sentinels based web warriors.
Yeah, because Sentinels are like 4,000 feet tall and are funny and are ass. So all of those things make them better.
I mean, I agree that my opinion of Sentinels would be way lower if they were good.
Yeah, everyone would fucking hate Sentinels if they were the best thing in the game. I would still be playing them, but
Wait. Hold on.
What?
The Sentinel art is identical between Prime and Mark IV.
Yep.
The Sentinel posing.
That is really embarrassing. It's like actually.
Is Iron Man Sentinel posing?
There's no such thing as Sentinel posing. I get it's we can't have too many.
The real question is Prime Hulk posing?
Well, let me
No.
take a look at that really quick, but
Not
I'm
at
pretty
all.
sure not.
Vince, what are you doing?
He's just trying to
He's
ruin
just
Hulk
he just-
posing.
Yeah, this is definitely not.
He has an
Hulk.
agenda.
What are
You
you
don't
talking
know.
about? This model is fully posable. He must be.
Actually,
No,
I
he's
bet-
the. You
I bet
can't
you
make
could
a
make him
sentinel
Hulk posing,
crouch.
but he definitely is not by default.
What? He's pretty close.
No.
If you gave him one of the smaller Sentinel's arms, so he wasn't shooting his laser, but was instead just doing like the Frankenstein claw grip, then he would be maybe Hulk posing. But also his stance has to be
Vince,
wider.
that
He
is
needs to
not
be more
Hulk,
of a
Hulk
walk.
posting.
Yeah, it's
That's not Hulk posing?
It's
It's pretty
not
close to
posing.
Hulk posing. Doesn't Hulk just have the arm face down?
Well, but he's also like in the middle of a walk. Like it's like he's like going forward. You know, it's like
Oh yeah, there's no room on that base for him to be walking.
like yeah, exactly. Like when you can tell that Hulk, like when they took the photo of him so that they could 3D print him as his model, he had just gone rah, you know, he'd been like rah, and he'd like lunged at somebody, but like slowly because he's a Hulk.
If I owned Sentinel models, it would be so hard for me not to make one of them dabbing.
Yeah, I think that's probably what was intended. Is that they should be dabbing.
Obviously.
Probably all three of them should be dabbing. Well, one the Prime should be dabbing, and the two Mark IVs should be flossing like in Fortnite.
What if one of them is soy
the worthy here I come.
Oh my god, dude! I would be like, if you submitted that to the worthy, I would be like in the con paying people to get you to win. And yes, you're right, Nate. If there were different heads, one of them should be soy facing. They could be like pointing.
Yeah,
back.
I was gonna say
God,
that the pointing
so
would be really
sick.
easy to do.
That would be awesome. Oh,
Making
man.
me soy face now.
What a great idea. See, all of these things. See, this is why Sentinels are good and webs suck ass. We talked about Sentinels for 5 minutes, and they didn't even deign to give us a second piece of card art. And we've already come up with a bunch of great Sentinels conversion ideas. All the conversion ideas for Web Warriors are: what if he was Spider-Man?
They can't even soy face. Their mouths are covered.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They might all be soy.
You have to paint it on there. It's fine.
Okay. Anyway.
So the other reasons that I think Inhumans aren't very popular.
Yeah, right.
Oh God, we're talking about this again? Jeez, we were doing important stuff, Nate.
Yeah, well, we finished that stuff. So now I can go back to less important things. I think it's a problem of like what an optimal list should be is still kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
Right. I think
that
the new box hasn't really been like fully integrated, explored, anything like that. Right. We still don't know. Is King Black Bolt good? Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
Mathematically, is the Maximus leadership good? No one knows.
Shut the fuck up.
Someone's trying to start fights.
Yeah, for real. You guys are gonna get a 5-hour podcast where Vince and I misunderstand math at each other.
I think that's what the audience wants.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's just like on top of them being unpopular and also complicated, right? Like Black Bolt is not a trivial model to pick up and start playing. There's a lot of little nuances in there. So they're also one of the hardest factions to like hop to. And I don't think there's an obvious draw to hop to that faction right now. But I think there should be.
Yeah, just because I really am pretty committed to the idea that I think they're going to be they already are, quotes, very good. But
yes, I agree.
The box is extremely strong.
Box is so fucking good.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the Avengers problem. Is that I think Avengers are easier to play than Inhumans.
Yes, by a lot.
Right.
Definitely.
B, they're kind of doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like a big part of where Inhuman strength comes from is the Black Bolt leadership, which is kind of doing a slightly worse, slightly better, depending on what turn it is. Thing or version of the Captain America thing. Yep. And then they also kind of want a lot of the same models.
Yep.
Do they want?
I think a lot of
a couple.
There's Gorgon, but
I think a lot of what makes the leadership strong are similar miniatures.
I guess that's true. I guess to me the difference is like I feel like Inhumans has a lot more incentive to focus on affiliated models than Avengers does. But I do still and like actually, so my idea for a good Inhumans list, which I haven't tested yet, so it might suck ass, but is has either Gladiator or Jane or both. And I guess not every Avengers player was playing Jane, but both DeLuca and Curtis were. So that's like
a lot were.
two of the top teams where there actually would be overlap, because I would be wanting to try to play Jane. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's a good point.
Yeah, like okay. So
I also think smaller, but I think Inhumans really like Toad as their 2-threat of choice, and I think that list kind of needs a 2-threat. And Apocalypse also fucking needs to, like, that's the best model in Apocalypse's affiliation is Toad.
yeah.
Toad is a big problem for team building right now because he's hands down the best 2-threat. I think he's like the second most played model at Squad Goals. Mm-hmm. I remember Black Cat's 1. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Toad is 2.
Black Cat and Toad are tied at 19 apiece.
Oh, let's go.
God, this is actually like
Black Cat is just more alphabetical than Toad.
This really has been the year of bots, and I've squandered it. Because not only did I get all these great releases that I really like the fucking monsters, but also the metagame is focused on Hulk and Toad, which are like two of my favorite characters to play, and Toad is a funny guy. It's all coming up bots. Until they release 40 Spider-Man. Anyway, but yeah, you guys are making good points. It does overlap more than I had sort of considered before this conversation. They want a lot of the stuff that like the other top teams want. So
it's like manageable, but it is one. Like I think all of these impediments stacked up to make them less popular. But I think good.
I think if you had a Avengers player and an Inhumans player on the same team. And like they're both equally good at playing that faction, I think you give the Avengers player everything they want and you tell the Inhumans player to play something else. Unless the Inhuman player literally can't play anything else.
Or I think the Inhuman player could probably find reasonable replacements. Like I think the Inhumans list is more flexible because a lot of like the Hulk is a splash no matter what, right?
Well, I think so you give up Hulk. I think a lot of Inhumans lists have Shang-Chi in it.
I don't think they need Shang-Chi though. I think
I think a lot of them are giving up stuff.
I think more of them should be playing Gladiator. I really like that Gladiator thing.
I think
and that at least. I think I'm sure some Avengers players are also trying out Gladiator, but they really don't need him. So yeah.
You should go watch my video about Gladiator.
I actually did watch it. So there.
Heck yeah, that's where you're getting all these ideas from.
You did not play him in Inhumans at all.
I didn't, but I did spend 10 minutes talking about that part.
You didn't
okay. I haven't watched the video.
You didn't mention what? There, which I thought was an oversight. But otherwise,
my proofreader, everyone.
I was on vacation.
Yeah, I don't know. Like closing thoughts about squad goals.
Every
time we say squad goals, I think squad goals, and then I like think for 5 minutes, like how do I bring the conversation around to like a chicken, and then I can't do it. So then I just say squad goals. But maybe next year I'll be able to figure this out. I'm sorry, not a chicken, a pigeon.
To wrap this up, first fill out the survey, and then I want to talk about the ultimate survey question on the survey.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The thing that I added this year. So I listened to a great podcast by Game Store Guardians, and the way that I listen to other MCP casts are A, are you Muson minis that I listen to you? B, if you have somebody on that I really like or a topic that I'm really interested in, then I'll listen to your cast. And they had Carl on, and their cast was great. And they talked about one of the things they really liked about Squad Goals was the Crisis uniqueness.
Yes,
and they said
it's been a huge hit compared to last year.
Okay.
And they said that without the Crisis uniqueness, after experiencing WTC, there wasn't enough of like a team building aspect to the game or a team building challenge without that part for it to like really interest them as a format. So in the spirit of that, I've made it even harder to build lists. What if instead of unique characters, we had unique aliases? So even more restrictive. How many widows can you have on your team? One Natasha Romanoff. One Peter
Bruce
Parker.
Banners?
One Bruce Banner. No playing Hulk and Avengers and Hulk and Midnight Suns. Get out of town. Pick one.
There's 2 Bruce Banners, Pat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just Hulk and Hulk, Immortal.
Hmm.
What do you guys think about that?
I want Kevin to go write a script that looks at all of the teams that attended squad goals and figures out how many times this would have actually changed anything.
I think it's almost every team.
I think yes, but it's just Bruce Banner.
I think it's Bruce Banner. I think it's every Web Warrior.
There wasn't that many.
Okay, well, they're only the fourth most popular faction. You're right. There's not that many.
What does it matter? Okay, the Web Warriors can't play Amazing Spider-Man anymore. Great, we're buffing Web Warriors.
Fucking gotta. I have converted Nate. Everyone.
It will
subscribes to the.
Like if we did that though, it would fuck over Web Warriors next year, right? Because aren't some of the coming out?
One of them, the new Miles, is a Miles.
I was going to say there's a Miles, right?
But yeah. Noir isn't, 2099 isn't, Toad isn't, or not Toad Ham.
I hate that stupid faction. I mean, I don't like this change just because I think people might be confused. And also because it's anti-Hulk discrimination, which is like, Vince always tries to propose these ideas for the game and like works really hard to come up with fake reasons for why he wants to do it when actually what he wants is for there not to be Hulk anymore. And
actually, I think this idea is terrible for the record. I am on the other side of the fence where I didn't think we should have done Crisis uniqueness.
Yeah, I also was against it, so I guess I was wrong because people love it.
You guys are super wrong. Yeah,
I'm just embracing that I'm wrong, and I'm steering the ship.
What
in
other
the other direction?
What other
now.
things do I think are wrong?
I clearly I don't know what people want, and so I'm moving in the other direction and seeing how far in the other direction they want it. And then when I hit the bumper on that side of the bowling alley, I'm going to go back the other way.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've looked at the top 4 teams from squad goals, and literally the only clash is Hulk.
Wow.
So this is literally just fuck Hulk.
I don't know. There's 6 teams that couldn't have played amazing.
Okay.
Well, at some point,
that's like it. That's it. That's the whole.
Wait, no,
11 teams on Hulk
too, right?
I mean,
don't Wakanda players
technically?
Don't they play both of the big Black Panthers? Like they don't. Wakanda doesn't really bring Bast
the 3 threat, but they play the other ones.
I'm sure, yeah.
But I also think this rule is uninteresting when it's just fucking a single team over. Like it would be more interesting if making the team building, but just actually, like dunking Wakanda and webs for no reason doesn't feel like a good.
Well, it actually like essentially only dunks Midnight Suns as well because it also hits T'Challa if they want to hit T'Challa as well.
Oh sure, yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
bad
idea. And you should feel bad.
Whatever. We put it on the list. I can't wait for them to vote against it or do it and then all be mad that they picked wrong. But you know, this is why you fill out the survey.
Yeah, save yourself from Vince's ideas by filling out the survey.
You know, sometimes a great way to get people to actually fill out the survey is to be like, "Would you like
their good time?"
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to drive this trolley over so many people if you don't.
Are none of the 8 new Spider-Man Gwen?
No.
What?
There's already 2 Gwens. How many Gwens do you want?
I don't want any. But
okay, then what are you complaining about?
I don't know. I just thought that there was going to be more overlap. Anyway,
there's only 4. What's the 5th new web warrior that I'm forgetting? Or is there only 4 new web warriors in Prowler?
There's Silk, Spider-Ham.
Oh, Silk is one I forgot.
29, Spider-Ham, and Miles Morales.
Yeah, Silk is not a Gwen.
Everybody is popping off because they're finally putting Miles Morales in the game for a second time.
Finally, for a second time.
That's correct.
I can't wait to finally win LVO for a second time.
Which one is the second Miles?
He's just Ultimate Miles Morales. It's the one jumping with lightning coming out of his fist.
Yeah, it's the one jumping with some fucking.
His name?
It's the one. It's the spider theme.
I mean, he's not in.
Just look for
we haven't seen his
card.
Spiders
on his face.
I see.
I don't think we officially know his name.
No.
I
think it's just going to be Ultimate Miles Morales. Well, like we don't know what his name would be.
But I thought it had it. I thought it had it because maybe the
timeline might. Yeah, I think Vince is lying to our faces.
I forget what. what that.
It's fine. If it's not on Nate's website, mcpdb.com, it's not real.
How do I get to that? I thought we
Ultimate Spider-Man will be his name.
That's
It's Prowler
so
2099
dumb.
and Ultimate Spider-Man.
Wow, so flavorful.
I was right
He's
in
from
that none of us knew it. When I said we, I didn't mean the community. I meant just the four of us.
Okay.
He's from the Ultimate Universe. That's very thematic.
Yeah, duh, Pat.
Yeah, I'm
Does he
coming
look
around
like a
to
guy
Boss's
from the
position.
Ultimate
of
Universe.
fuck
Did you notice
spiders.
like the spiders? Okay, moving on to our next topic. The Pope's from Chicago.
Hashtag Malort Pope.
Hashtag Malort Pope. All
What
right,
is
great.
it like to know that the Pope has probably had a shot of Malort?
It feels good.
All right.
Are you guys White Sox fans or Cubs fans?
I am a fair weather Chicago fan. Any Chicago team that manages to
I'm
be
not
in
like
the World Series of whatever, I'm in.
I don't follow baseball all that much, but my family is from the South Side, so White Sox. I was raised to be a White Sox fan.
When I followed baseball, it was White Sox, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Pope is also a White Sox man, so
yeah.
Yeah, I know. There was like slander that he was a Cubs fan, and they had to like talk to his brother, who was like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Well, they got a picture of him from the World Series.
yeah.
If
really
Alex
funny
ever
to be
revealed
like-
that he was a Cubs fan, his dad would have put him in the boards.
Would it be crazy to be like, my brother is the Pope? For some reason, that seems even crazier to me than like my brother is the president or something like that. Like, I feel like it's just like a different world. I guess because I'm not
There's
religious, but it's
a
like,
lot more people that are like eligible to be Pope than I mean,
That's
in
not
some
true.
sense.
every
Well,
fucking natural born American citizen can be president. Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
Guys,
I do
doesn't
think
matter.
it's like see, there's a picture his brother surfaced of him. I don't know what fucking event that, but there's just the Pope, now the current Pope, hanging out in a hoodie. And just
Hell
that
yeah.
image of the Pope in a hoodie really got to me.
That's great.
all right, guys, we're talking about stupid stuff. Well, we could be talking about the great bit that ran through all of Squad Goals.
Wait,
What was that?
do we want to do Pat names at some point?
I wanted to talk about this bit first,
Okay.
and then we're going to do Pat names, and then we'll talk about X-Men nonsense.
Great.
Oh my god, this is gonna be an 8-hour podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great. We shouldn't have talked for an hour about nonsense in the pre-ramble. So, last year at Squad Goals,
Where'd your Pat go?
Alexander Bartholomew Bots
That's me.
didn't have any cash to buy himself a soda pop.
Oh, you really want to talk about this on air?
I do. I really want to
He
talk about
loves
this.
so much.
This story rules. This is a Zaray approved story. So buckle in, listeners. So Alex borrowed $1, I think from me. Seems like it would be from me.
It was you.
And I loaned him I loaned him $1 to buy a soda pop. And I was like, "You want a candy bar too, kiddo?" Yeah, because there was like a long running bit about Alex being the youngest member of the podcast and just like being our kid, despite him and Pat being like the same age and only being like a year or two younger than me and Nate. And then this year, Alex needed to borrow money for a soda pop again.
That is correct. Unfortunately, I have to.
But from his other dad.
Oh shit! I didn't give you
Bad
$1.
value.
Pat. Fuck.
It's fine. I owe you.
I owe you
an
$1.
amount I don't know.
I have $1 right next to me. I could give you.
So the floodgates were unleashed on
Yeah, the floodgates.
babysitting Alex. So we had such classics as we went to the beer garden and they had a little bubble machine that all the kids were playing in. And then they had it shut off when we left. And I was like, "Alex, you didn't get to play in the bubble machine, kiddo." And he's like, "Dad, I don't need bubbles, okay? I am a big boy."
No, it was funnier than that because the bubble machine was still running, and you could tell Bots really wanted to go play in the bubble.
No, that is not true.
But he had
You
to
could not
prove
tell
a point of it. I
You could not tell
absolutely-
that. I don't want to play in a bubble machine.
Okay, guys, he's just that difficult age where he's like, he does still like bubbles. He's like, who doesn't like
He
bubbles?
does.
But you can't
all
like,
parents know
you
the
can't like
age when
outwardly
kids still
show
like
how much you
bubbles.
enjoy bubbles. And then my absolute favorite was me, Nate, and Alex went to Panera for a change of scenery.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're leaving Panera, and me and Nate take a left turn to take the sidewalk down. And Alex doesn't realize that you can like cut through the like outdoor dining area and stay on the sidewalk. So he ends up walking up the drive-through as he swings wide around, thinking he's so clever. And I'm like,
clever. What are these?
And I'm like, Alex, kiddo, you don't want to like come walk with mom and dad? And he's like, no, I'm fine over here. And I'm like, Alex, out of the street. Seriously, out of the street. Out of the street. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. And I go, 1, 2, and you just feel you could visibly see all the hairs on the back of Alex's neck stand up as his like brain is actively telling his hindbrain, this isn't real. They're not your parents. You don't have to do this. No one's gonna get the belt or put you into the boards.
I can't believe you made me judge what this happened.
We didn't make you judge. We asked you if you wanted to go, and you were like, I'm busy.
No, and you guys were like, all right, we're done. Pat's going to judge these last 3 games. Let's go to Panera.
I don't know. I took Nate's word for it. I don't really know.
I asked if he wanted to get food, and he said no.
I said I'm okay, but yeah. You didn't tell me I was going to miss out on the bots bit.
We didn't know we were going to miss out on the bots.
Okay, I didn't know we were going to Panera.
This was one retelling of these events. Another retelling might be Vince told a joke, everyone laughed, and then he continued telling it for the next 3 days. Laughing, and
everyone continued to laugh the whole time.
And one person continued to laugh. And sometimes Nate Pity laughed. And I did not think I was so clever by walking through the drive-thru lane. I was like, I just walked where I thought there was a sidewalk, and the hair did not stand up on the back of my neck when I heard you counting. I don't even know what under the boards is. You fucking geriatric, at like pre-Cold War ass dad. Like what the fuck are you talking about?
You boards is a callback to Elvio when we found out your dad still plays full contact hockey.
Oh, that kind of under the boards. Yes.
Into the boards.
Under the boards.
I have no fucking idea what you're saying. Yes,
this is why your dad is like
you absolutely are like a father in that you make jokes that require cultural knowledge from like a different state 60 years ago, and then you laugh to yourself while your children entertain themselves with something they care about.
I'm sorry that I thought our friendship had an inside joke.
You just made it an outside joke.
Yeah,
I don't even get it.
That's what content's about nowadays.
Also, I'm turning 33 this year. Isn't that crazy? I'm like 80 years old. You guys are going to like turn into dust soon.
God willing.
Yeah. I just wish it had all happened at once instead of my knees first.
You guys are going to like, it's going to be like in that Avengers movie, What Happens to Spider-Man. Everybody's favorite character.
Oh, Spider-Man. Totally.
Too busy spider-posing to avoid the dust.
I don't feel so good, Doc, or whatever.
Yeah, that's it. You nailed it.
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's play your stupid game show. I hate you all. I am like a teenager in that this is all very interesting to me. That part is inaccurate. An accurate comparison. How do we play the game show?
That's your realm. Okay. Nice try.
No. I know it's my job to explain the rules. I genuinely don't remember them.
He's too flummoxed.
Unfortunately, you're going to have to take over.
He's been too embarrassed by mom and dad to know the rules of the game.
Wait, is Pat going to tell us the rules?
I'm going to read the rules section because I also don't remember how to play the game. Pat is going to try and describe whatever model is in the cell above to the other hosts. What information he's allowed to share will change each stage and get more points the sooner. This is not written well. The sooner they guess it correctly. Stage 1, 3 points.
Wait, you just read it wrong.
That's probably. Look, you're not supposed to. You can't.
All right, you guys figure this out. I'm listening with my headphones, but I'm going to go make a drink.
Okay.
He can't describe their physical appearance in any way, use any proper names, or describe their powers. He must describe their backstory or motivations. Yeah, that's going to go well. Stage 2. I can describe how it plays, but I cannot use the names of any of the powers. Good news, don't know them. Stage 3, I can now describe their appearance. So, I'm going to click this button and change the thing.
I will not look at it anymore now that I'm done.
Stop
and fixing the 2 typos that were in there.
Okay, all right. How do I change it?
Just change any cell.
I don't. Okay, so I'm gonna type a J over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Kind of wizardy. Not kind of wizardy.
And we have to agree on our votes. Bots.
Right, it's going to be really easy when
listening to
everyone
this.
else isn't here.
Well, hopefully they can still hear you.
Okay.
I can
Motivations.
Hear you. I'm back. I have a little drink. You know, I just got a little tense after Vince confronted me. So now
What are you
I'm
drinking?
going to assume. Yeah, please fill time.
Okay, so he's kind of wizardy. So
they're kind of wizardy.
Yeah, Pat, start over. But I did hear everything you said.
They're I assume they hate non-mutants.
So it's Magneto?
Not mutants, but they're
they live in a coven of some sort.
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
They live in a coven of some sort.
Oh, it's Cassandra Nova.
What? No.
Oh no, it's Scarlet Witch. It's Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, it's got to be Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, Coven is too witchy. Sorry, Pat.
Yeah, because no more mutants is why.
No, I get more points. I get so many points.
Oh, this is good for you?
Yeah,
it's cooperative for all four of us.
Oh.
Our vote is Scarlet Witch.
It's Scarlet Witch.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay.
Man.
So make sure to mark true on her.
I think Scarlet Witch could have torn up the last metagame, but I was too scared to implement it because I was and also I was having a lot of fun with Midnight Suns. But
I'm
just Witch mid take.
Oh, okay. Fuck me.
Hold on. What's up, Pat?
Well, I marked Scarlet Witch to true.
Okay.
And my life has been ruined by the new character.
Oh, sick. All right.
I love it. I love that for you.
Multiple times during the course of the Squad Goals weekend. This has nothing to do with the rules. People told me I had seen this movie. I don't think I've seen this movie. What do I know? He
even more narrowed down now.
Doesn't so much create things as he blanks them.
Oh, I know who it is. That's not describing his personality. I guess it's kind of describing his personality. It's not like backstory. That's not motivation.
I don't get it at all. You stay quiet, Nate. I want to know more about his vibe.
But I know who it is.
I don't know what his motivations are. He loves...
And I know what the movie is.
I feel like I was a part of the movie conversation. I don't remember.
So remember, Pat, you're allowed to make shit up as long as it gets people to the right answer. It doesn't have to be accurate.
I know very little about this person. I can't talk about their physical experience.
Their physical experience.
Yeah, right. That's what I said. I don't know anything else from her. All right.
Pat, to fill time, let me tell you about my physical experience.
Please do.
I don't want to.
Stage 2. He stabs stuff.
Oh, hang on. Are we
DMing my answer to Pat so I can get my 3 points.
Well, wait. What figure it out? I
think we need to make this competitive.
So is it... What movie could this be? Blade? Blade doesn't create so much as destroy, or does? I don't know.
What was it? It was create doesn't blank as much as destroy.
He doesn't so much create as blanks things.
Okay.
Oh, is it Drax? Drax the Destroyer.
Oh. So which movie people were telling you that you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
Or Guardians 2. I don't. Is he in both?
I'm pretty sure when we started this cast, he was like, the only one I've seen had a raccoon in it. And so everyone thinks he's only seen Guardians.
No, it was... I mean, specifically this time I said, I don't know which one's Yondu and which one's Nova. And everyone was like, you've seen Guardians 2. And I was like, that might be true. But I've seen...
Nova isn't in any of the Guardians movies, is he? I know Yondu is.
But Yondu is a big part of 2.
I feel like I would have remembered the name Yondu. But...
Really? I would bet a lot of money that you specifically, Pat, would not remember.
Is he in the third one?
Marvel movie?
It's such a dope name. I don't know.
I guess not. I thought there was like a flashback. Maybe I only saw the third one once. I haven't gone back to it.
Also, only seen the third one once.
Which one?
Okay, so is it Drax the Destroyer? Are we good with that?
Yes.
Heck yeah! I tricked Pat into saying yes.
Which Guardians movie
ends
with the Halt and Catch Fire guy? like hanging out on a moon and having a conversation.
I think that's 3, right? Isn't because
The
that's like his dad.
Halt and Catch
The Halt
Fire.
and Catch Fire. Yeah, it's Ronan.
Halt and Catch Fire guy.
Lee Pace is in Halt and Catch Fire.
Lee Pace.
Right?
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think that's
that
the
guy.
first one.
He
That's
plays
the first
Ronan?
one?
Yeah, he's Ronan. It's fucking great.
What the
How
fuck?
did you recognize that, Pat?
That's actually a really good
What
question.
else is Lee Pace in?
I saw
so many
the,
things. He's
the
the
clip of
Pie
this.
Maker.
So familiar.
He's Thranduil in the Hobbit movies.
That's definitely where I know him from.
He's
I love-
fucking great. I love Lee Pace and everything he's ever been in.
I've only ever seen him in Halt and Catch Fire.
Oh, he's really good in Pushing Daisies. You've seen Pushing Daisies.
Oh
Vince, I
yeah,
assume.
Pushing Daisies rips.
Yeah. He's the Pie Maker guy.
Spilled my drink a little bit here.
All right,
How'd I
kiddo.
say yes?
Okay.
You want a sippy cup?
Oh
No,
God
I want a paper
damn
towel.
it!
I'll be back.
This
Pat's
third
mad about the
model
last round.
is a model.
Well, we're on 6 points, so you're doing great.
Yeah. Well, we don't know how many points to win, so it's a never-ending quest. I assume he's motivated by stabbing or slashing.
Wow. Excellent. Drax the
helpful.
Stabber.
Probably more slashing than stabbing, I guess. Like if
Okay.
His vibe is big into bladed weapons. Got it.
Yeah. Their backstory or motivations. I don't know anything about.
Make
So
it
we were
up.
talking earlier about aliases.
Yeah.
Real story.
Yeah, tell him.
He had a challenge. I don't like the
No, I liked where you're going with that. He had a challenge. Tell me more about the challenge.
The problem is I know the slightest amount about a character that's similar to this one, and absolutely nothing about this one.
Okay.
So I will, if I try and tell you a story about this character, I will lie to you, and you'll guess the other one.
But then you'll tell us it's wrong, and then we'll get 2 points by guessing the right one.
Yeah, exactly. Great plan. Excellent plan, Nate.
So slashing, maybe a little stabbing.
Okay. Same clue again. Got it.
Body horror, little body horror. Little like
Got like a big
trauma. I don't know. I'll good news. I don't know how it plays either, other than slashing. And so okay, I own an alternate. This is maybe the only model. Actually, this is the only model that I own an alternate sculpt for.
Like a third-party sculpt?
Yeah, like a 3D printed alt sculpt.
Huh. I didn't know you
I did not 3D print it myself, but I own it.
So you got it. You got it from Games Plus, then?
I got it from a different tournament, but yes.
Okay.
This model, in my mind, is associated with humor.
Okay.
I really enjoy things about this model that have nothing to do with the model.
I think I know who this is, but I don't want to.
Is your guess Deadpool? Because it's my guess.
Yes. But then he's just he's going to describe
no
someone he knows better. We're going to guess that instead. So I'm trying to figure out, like, is Deadpool the correct answer? Or is Deadpool the thing he thought we were going to guess?
Where does
Let's
Deadpool
go to the
splash?
next one.
It's not Deadpool.
Well, you're not allowed to say any of that, Pat. Let's go to next round.
Okay. What part of Deadpool do I enjoy that's not Deadpool? Like, what is the humorous angle of Deadpool? Do you think I just enjoy the comedy of those movies or the character?
I think you enjoy the problematic part of the fandom.
I don't know anything about
that. Was also what I was thinking.
Okay. What else can I talk about? I think they're more focused on killing than scenario. Maybe
we're
to
on
a
how
degree.
it plays. Is that what we're doing?
We're on how it plays. I don't think they're even allowed to participate in scenario.
Okay, so it's like a honey badger.
I think it's Weapon X.
Weapon,
That's the slashing. It's a little bit of body horror with the like tubes coming out of it and all
and
the wires.
he thinks
and
it's
shit.
funny because
I think he likes the Naked Man.
Yeah,
and also that it's named
Naked Man funny helmet.
Yeah.
Or just like Weapon X the Man with Weapon X the Faction and Weapon X
Oh,
the card.
okay. Yeah, I'm game if we want to guess Weapon X. How do you feel, Alex?
I mean, I have no idea, so that sounds good to me.
Every time somebody says Weapon X the model, I fucking lose it. I think that's so fucking funny when you have to clarify Weapon X the affiliation. Like, it's Logan the Wolverine, but scaled like significantly past that.
Guys, it's in 1 year. My dream is Weapon X the Crisis. I want Weapon X the Crisis so that I can put Weapon X the Crisis, Weapon X the model, Weapon X the tactics card in Weapon X the Faction.
Can you play Weapon X the model?
Screwed by only one of each alias, by the way.
You'd have to be playing Sabretooth in the same faction, in the same thing, to be able to play Weapon X the tactics card.
And you can only play one Sabretooth. Oh, wait, one of them isn't Weapon X, right?
Wait.
OG Wolverine is not.
That's so sad.
Weapon X is the same man as Logan, the Wolverine?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
What are you new here?
I assume
the stuff you don't know about Marvel. It always amazes me, Patrick.
What the hell?
Why would they be the same person?
That's where he got started. He started in a lab. He broke out of the lab. Then he wandered to Canada. Then he became an X-Man.
Where did he find the cowboy hat?
In Canada.
I see. So, and this is the same man that wears a blue and yellow suit at other points in his life.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Cool.
He's lived a long time. He's done a lot of stuff.
And some of that stuff's been skin tight.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Pat to be at the next tournament and be like, hang on. You're telling me that Wolverine doesn't have any vibranium attached to his bones at all? What are they, just like normal bones?
Wait, I thought that was the whole point.
No, it's adamantium, not vibranium.
Oh.
The other fake fancy metal.
Okay. Well, here we are.
We did it, guy.
Pat, have you ever looked at the tactics card Implanted Memories?
No.
It definitely has not. I've never even heard of
I've never even heard of that.
Okay. Well, if you like Weapon X shenanigans, this card gets people asking questions about it, like still on like a weekly to 2 weekly basis.
Okay. So when an allied Weapon X the affiliation character suffers damage.
Whoa, that could be an allied. No, I don't know.
Is it?
It could go either way. That could be allied Weapon X.
Wow,
it's an allied Weapon X character. So it's probably not the character named Weapon X. Yeah, this is fucked. All right, we're 4 words into this, and this is already fucked up.
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah,
I would have
being bolded does not help. Wow.
Nope.
I would have a great time playing this and reading it to people. Can Weapon X the model be the leader of Weapon X the affiliation?
Oh my god, yes. I want to play Weapon X just to take this to who's judging our next event in Sacramento?
I don't know, probably Carl.
Oh, you don't say shit to Carl, all right?
I mean, he's not gonna. He listens to this, but all right.
Yeah, well, let's find out if he's a fan or not.
Okay,
I'm playing Weapon X at the next tournament.
Yeah, it gets a lot of people when Domino blows up and does damage to people.
So, like, maybe 2 drops of cognac spilled on my wooden keyboard. Do you think it's over?
I saw you pull out a different keyboard and got worried about it.
Yeah, well, I have a backup keyboard in case, I do what I do quarterly, which is spill shit.
There's too many anime girls around the screen at one time.
What?
Huh? Nothing. So Weapon X, perfect transition into our Uncanny X-Men talk.
Oh, sure.
I'm playing X-Men for a video. Woo!
Yep.
Yeah. This faction sucks.
He's
So
only
where's
doing it
Shield?
for the content.
So what's the pitch of the video? Because the Gladiator thing was like it's a new model. People need opinions on new model.
I'm glad you asked because we've been doing really well on YouTube this year. Because we're only doing stuff I think is going to work. And so we're doing the classic YouTube thing of we're starting at a thumbnail and then trying to make a video instead of starting at a video and trying to make a thumbnail. So this is, can you play X-Men without Storm?
I see.
Okay, could describe the thumbnail to me.
It's like a big ghost, like Storm in a Ghostbuster symbol.
It's a selfie of Vince at the gym.
Like like Storm inside the Ghostbuster symbol, the grimace emoji pasted over the face of Cyclops and Professor X.
Okay, love it.
Yeah, I think everybody would click on that.
So I don't want to.
Now I'm playing X-Men without channel.
But what's the answer?
Yes. Yeah, probably. You shouldn't, but like, yes. I'm 3 games deep. I don't know.
Nobody's called a judge on you in these games.
Okay, what Storm have you played?
I have played 3 games. 2 of them into Nate. Only 1 of them a mirror.
Nice.
I'm 2-1.
Oh, let's go. He's popping off. Storm sucks.
Yeah. At the X-Men world, like looking into it is like kind of wild right now, as Professor X is the highest win rate leader in X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And Jean is a big part of the X-Men plan.
Right.
It's a wild, crazy world we live in.
So like,
yeah.
To level set a little bit, I've said this a bunch on Discord, but not on a podcast yet. So now I'm going to repeat myself on a podcast. The crisis changes, I think, were actively unhelpful for the traditional Storm plan. I think so. We gained 2 pay flips and lost 2 pay flips. We swapped Sword for McCran, which I think is kind of lateral, whatever. And then we lost Spider Portals for the Guardian Save Shi'ar Empress. And I think that is a much worse pay to flip to play Storm on. The problem I have with both McCran and Guardians is that them being so close together means your additional speed and movement from like the Storm Hop and Nightcrawler teleporting around and Logan teleporting around doesn't matter as much, right? It's not impressive that you can move from one point to the other point while doing stuff, right? That used to be the thing that made Storm cool, was you would be doing stuff, taking actions while getting to multiple points on a D and flipping them. That shit don't happen. It's not impressive, right? Any team can do that, right? McCran is so popular. Yeah, yeah. McCran is so popular with attrition teams that who don't care. You know, everybody's come together. It doesn't matter if you can run around a bunch. You just die in the middle of the table, right? So that I still think Storm is very good, but the traditional build for her, I don't think is correct anymore. And her, I think she's down to like a 46% win rate, the lowest she's ever been in her life, exemplifies that. I think you have to rethink what X-Men should be doing in the new Crisis packet. And I think, so I've been talking to Vodka a bunch about this, who also kind of fully agrees with that statement that pay to flips are not the way to go. The other thing, too, is getting rid of the E's and making like McCran and Guardians the new closest shapes has forced attrition gorillas to learn how to play pay to flips, which means you're losing EV by paying flips because more people know how to actually play them. And I think more people should have been playing pay to flips in the old world, but they refused to do so. Now they've been forced to do so.
Wow.
So regardless,
somehow you found a worse version of attrition player to call them gorillas instead of unga bungas. Jeez,
I think that's the same. I'm flattered by both. Please,
yeah, gorillas are sweet. And so I think there's a couple, there's a whole bunch of approaches that I've been talking to Vodka about, right? So I think there's a plan where you keep Storm and you play the D shapes. So you play like Extremis and Cosmic Invasion. not pay to flips, but you now have Beast and Angel and Iceman, who are all 3 threats that are very good at those very spread out shapes, which is a lot more tools than X-Men used to have way back when on those. So I think like a very wide storm plan is interesting. I know Vodka has had incredible success with his new Cyclops plan, going off an idea that I think I said this the last episode, about like, if you're good at Fisking the unexpected guess right now, you get a bunch of free EV because a lot of people are bad at those crises. And I think there's versions of Cyclops that have always been really good at Fisk. They need some tweaks because of unexpected guess being farther apart is a bit harder. But he has been playing the Cyclops King Black Bolt list that last I heard he is 18-1 with, all in practice games, but still, it's a really good start.
It's a lot of games.
Yeah, he plays a lot. And so I think that idea is very interesting. It's playing, Cyclops. It has a Jean Grey in there. It has a Bishop, Domino, King Black Bolt, a Pyro, a bunch of cool stuff in there as another approach. And then the third and final approach is a Professor X one, which I think there's kind of 2 ways to skin this bald cat, where it's a question of where you start is, are you playing mass transit or not? Right. I think the mass transit turn 1 stuff is interesting and good, but has caveats to it, right? The biggest problem is you're playing Professor X and Wong in the same list, neither of which are very proactive models good at accomplishing things. Like the Wong after turn 1 is one of the worst Wongs you'll ever see in your life. It feels so bad to have Wong every other turn of the game. But dropping your whole list in the middle of the board turn 1 is pretty fucking strong. Like that's a good way to start a game. And I like, Vince has a Sentinel Prime in there, and getting to put a Sentinel Prime on the midpoint before he's activated with a bunch of friends around him is really good. And his reroll aura functions super well with the Professor's leadership and the Professor's rerolls. Because like the Professor can spend power to reroll, send a power to Prime. Prime can immediately use that to reroll the same shit. And then both of those bubbles stack really well with Nightcrawler, who you brought anyways to do mass transit, and then making his spender more reliable can make that model way more dangerous, right? So like the Nightcrawler hunting for Yahtzees becomes way more reliable in this. It's still not reliable, but you have like 6 rerolls backing it up at any time. It's hard to ask for more than that.
Yeah, there's nothing like getting to like the 4th attack on the Nightcrawler thing and then spending 6 rerolls and then not continuing and being like, I'm so mad. Like, I can't believe this happened to me. And you're like, you just did 10 damage to Hulk with a 4 threat. And I'm like, yeah, but he should be dead. I got this far. I should have been able to make infinite attacks.
So I think the list he's working on, we're workshopping it some. I think it has tough choices to make, because like the reroll auras are really good with Professor X's leadership, but every other character that isn't Sentinel Prime sucks ass on their own, right? So like your Shuri or your Invincible Iron Man as your cheaper reroll bot have this kind of same problem that the Professor X and Wong have, where their activations just are kind of low impact. And one of the things that I think is a concern with this mass transit list is if you play Nightcrawler, Invincible Iron Man, a Logan, and then Professor X and Wong. Vince picks Wong, Nightcrawler or Logan. They take an activation, do something cool. If I then respond and kill Nightcrawler, his remaining activations are Invincible, Professor X, and Wong, who are all just kind of dirtles, right? Like none of those 3 models has big swingy activations. And you got a lot of rerolls on him. You get to reroll everything Wong does if he makes a punch, but they're just low impact models, which I think is why Prime is so good in the list, is because he's tanky, so you can wait on his activation. And when he activates, he actually accomplishes some shit. Like he does great damage, which is a big help. I think you need to have as many action pieces as possible if you're playing Professor X and Wong. I also think there's a build that doesn't use mass transit, but he's starting with the mass transit thing first, because that's more exciting. To figure out, is this worthwhile or not? And then you can default to something that just uses like, airlifts and cost cheap teleports and stuff to get the ball rolling that way, and just kind of unpack more like a Black Bolt or a Steve one.
Yeah, like Nate said, the toughest part of the mass transit thing is like the Wong boat anchor is like enabling the mass transit thing on turn one, because mass transit is a card that really is only good played on turn one. And so it's like, okay, I'm playing a tactics card down and 2 points down, and am I getting enough value off of that? Because like Wong really hurts the rest of the game unless they're like constantly putting staggers on you and also not personally threatening your character's life, where you can like spend an activation stripping staggers from people or stripping conditions or healing people or whatever. Like get value out of Wong is the hardest part of that list. And so with the most common threat value being 17, 2 threat, like discarding 2 threat to like not do work and not help the rest of your list do work, or really that much scenario, like you can stand on a point fine and like maybe you can walk and pay to flip. It's like, can you get back to that? Like I feel pretty comfortable with the list at 20. Like the Wong thing is absolutely worth it when you get 20 threat. It's kind of dicey at 19, and then as we dip down, I'm getting more and more worried about the Wong tax of mass transit. So right now, if I'm in 3 games in, but if I had to guess, we'd end up at like trying to play the mass transit thing at 19 and 20, and then playing a more like just I have too much power X-Men at 18, 19, or 16, 17, 18.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds interesting.
Are
you enjoying yourself, Vince?
I'm having an all right time. I would like, so the mass transit version of X-Men plays a lot like Shield. It has like a bunch of interlocking defensive mechanics that are like kind of hard to operate and kind of hard to see coming and can really punish your opponent making mistakes. Like I'm playing Sack Brace Dream every game, and like that being is not that different from Sack Brace Eye. Like Dream is innately a more powerful card than Eye, but you only play it once. So there's lots of like similar interesting things going on here, and like it's also a list that its turn one gives up so much scenario tempo in exchange for attrition tempo. And that's a thing that Shield, that's like where Shield lived for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like Shield's gimmick was like, we're trying to activate the free victory points part of the leadership, so we're giving up scenario tempo for attrition tempo and like never overextending and never doing any of that stuff. So the list kind of does similar stuff, but they can also just like randomly pivot into like the mass transit senators thing is like goofy as all get out. Like ditching the reroll bubble and playing like all the 3s and being able to like mass transit up, pick up your senators and back up by like mass transit and airlifts and stuff like that is like pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems cool.
But yeah, I'm having an okay time with it. And like when the mass transit list was first like spoiled, or not like spoiled, but like when it was first like discovered by people that weren't me, I was like, I love this. I really enjoy playing this list, but this list absolutely needs to be backed up by Storm for it to be good. Like it's not better than Storm on at least half the crises in the game, and I have no interest in playing the Storm thing. But now that the Storm thing is maybe not as essential to playing X-Men, I'm more interested in exploring it. So that's where we're going next.
Yeah, you're certainly leaving a lot less value on the bench by not playing Storm. I agree. It used to be just like, look at all this EV you're leaving behind not playing Storm. And I just don't think that's true anymore. I still put a gun to my head. I think she's still the best leader. But it's just not as cut and dry as it used to be.
Yeah, I think that's the reason that the video is interesting, right? Or the video will be interesting, is because she, like, we're in that space of, like, she probably still is the best leader, but she's never been worse than she is now.
Yep.
So there's like an interesting discussion, exploration to be had that can probably be like compromised into what will end up being the best X-Men list. And I feel like I'm in a weird space where I can like mine for gold in a faction that is like kind of has a high buy-in. Like I think like X-Men are one of the like most like you need to know your turn ones more in X-Men than you need to know them anywhere else. And by cutting Storm out of that, I think that that's less true.
Right.
But yeah, I also definitely got blown out by playing. I should have definitely played a first class in a game that I didn't play it in, and really had to play my way out of that. It's like a McCran, I don't know, something else, and I didn't take first class, and I was like, I have made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, that seems rough. Man, that's such a good card. I wish I had that card.
It's so important to Professor X, especially if you're not playing the mass transit stuff. That card is necessary for Professor X to actually have a good turn one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because of all the passing the power around and stuff. You just need to like be able to pick up the objectives for free.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single team that wouldn't benefit gratefully from that card. That card is
of course.
Incredibly strong. And I can't wait to experience McCran while also playing first class, and I get to like start the turn on 3 power and pick something up. But yeah, that's where I am on that.
Cool.
Okay. So have we been a size 3 taco trick then?
I think so.
Pat, you'll be oh no, damn it! I was going to tell Pat about how overpowered his sexy goblins are.
Oh yeah, he'll be stoked to hear about that.
I think it's also just kind of a side effect of them being on balance pass 1 and everyone else being on like balance pass 3.
Yeah, there's definitely been other like murder focused factions that came out and had their damage toned down. So
they seem so like, maybe I don't understand the game, but like holy fucking shit, they seem so stupid. They seem like a little bit weak, a little bit underpowered until you remember the buff that they hand out. The sniper rifle guy is kind of funny. He gets 6 extra inches of range if he's at least 2 elevations higher than what he's shooting.
Oh, that's fun.
What game are you talking about?
Malifaux again?
Oh, you mean like wait? So not just any Bayou people, but like a specific crew you're talking about that just got released or something?
Yeah, yes. Kin just came out, which is the LaCroix family,
the sexy goblin.
Yeah, the sexy goblins.
Right.
That so, Pat wants to play.
You're convincing Pat to play them.
Yeah,
they seem pushed. They seem so fucking overpowered, dude.
Either of those two descriptions would have been names that I associated with sexy goblins.
Which names?
Kin or LaCroix.
Oh, okay. You don't think LaCroix is a sexy name?
Well, I think they have like 1 or 2 sexy people.
I mean,
in the family.
I think they're LaCroix.
Just the one.
Sexy. Yeah,
but
but if I can say it like that, then yeah, all right.
You can say it however you want.
L-A is capital L, lowercase a, capital C, capital R, capital O, capital I, capital X. There's only the A is lowercase.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
Well, I think that's how you do that name in all caps, but correctly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess the first name is entirely in caps. I just find it really funny that there's like only one letter.
It does look
case.
goofy, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Huh.
Francois.
I think it's funny.
LaCroix.
Yeah, Francois Lacroix is.
You should pronounce it differently for every member of the family.
I do. It was like Yeah, my days of stag air, they go back longer than I've known any of you.
Oh, great. Maybe I don't want to play Malifaux.
That's right. Don't play Malifaux. There's a guy on the Dojo server selling $180 of Infinity, and I was like, what if I just bought $180 of Infinity?
To do what with it?
To pretend that I'll paint it.
Oh, is it unpainted?
Yeah, it's unbuilt.
Oh my god, why does it cost $180 then? Is it like literally
Because
2
there's
factions?
like kind of a lot of it. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It might also be overpriced. I have no idea.
I don't know, man. That's so much metal.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer, but I haven't bought it yet.
I forgot how much I absolutely detest metal models.
Yeah, they're the worst.
I'm so spoiled with plastic injection.
I was reminded
Angel
about
is getting in on the drama. Let's go.
Oh god damn.
But he's just
damn it. Ah, fuck. God.
Not Angel.
He was my boy.
That's right. That's right.
Fuck, he was airlifting people everywhere. Now look at him.
Is it as based as his last drama invasion?
Yeah, pretty much. It was just you people should stop being children, basically, is what he's saying. With a lot of misspellings, because English is not his first language. So when are we becoming a Malifaux podcast? I guess once they stop changing the rules over and over
Yeah,
again.
when the new edition comes out and we figure out what Pat's playing.
So the last podcast we put on YouTube is the best podcast we've ever put on YouTube. We've never had a podcast do 1,000 views.
Let's see. Goddamn, it outperformed the audio.
How much do we get on the audio?
982.
Okay.
Isn't that
so? I mean,
low?
Not. I mean, it's double the previous one.
Oh,
the Soup Boys did not do well.
Soup Boys also did quite badly on YouTube, for the record.
Why is that? That's fucked up.
Also, what the? Okay, some of these. Hold on, I read this wrong. I've read this entirely wrong. Hang on.
Okay.
What in the fuck?
You okay?
Does it have a screen share button?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Share
thy screen.
I reminded me that there are other buttons.
You definitely shared something with me.
Okay, this application is not my friend.
Oh hell yeah, GameCube time!
Who fucking orders these things this way? I'm never gonna talk this. The order to the windows I can capture with screen share is nonsensical.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, it's on the wrong computer. All right, I'm not sharing the screen. God, so okay, the actual thing that baits me relentlessly about this is that the computers are smart enough to have the cursor pass between them.
Yeah.
But nothing else about them is smart enough to do that.
Right.
So I can just like seamlessly accidentally find myself on the other computer with one trackpad.
Oh, you have like a one trackpad that's running multiple computers, like there are multiple monitors.
Not intentionally, but yes.
It's fucking insane. Dude.
Yeah.
Well, and I also have a second trackpad next to me that actually is for this other computer. So the headline for this graph is daily downloads. And then it says 434.
Okay.
But also, if you look at the y-axis of the graph, clearly the daily downloads are like 3.5. And the total downloads are 434. But it doesn't say that.
I can't believe we're not getting 400 listens a day.
Yeah.
If we were getting 400 listens a day, I'd be like, I know we said we'd never monetize the podcast, but
wait, some of these can't be right. I don't. These are far lower than this seems broken. I would have said the normal podcast listeners were in the ballpark of 1,000.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that we're doing way better than Rage Quit Wire, which we are. So there's There are comments on ours on Podbean too. Why are there people commenting? Boo, you teased us. Valiant. Oh my god, you guys learning how a motor doesn't work was hilarious. In a typical geound-based vehicle, there is an oil pan that stores oil till the crankshaft spins and pulls owl up into the motor. Smaller engines do not have an oil pan, so the lubricant has to be mixed in with the fuel.
The episode where Vince comes out as a sociopath from 6 years ago.
Yeah, and also 6 years ago, I loved this episode. Not about ranks or winning, but more about fun and love of the game and community heart. Also, those three of these posts, which were clearly on the arrow when we were doing Guild Ball, obviously, are all from Geeks Workshop. They commented on our posts 3 times.
Isn't Geeks Workshop like often in our fucking streams?
Oh, I don't know. I don't recognize it.
Yeah, Geeks Workshop is...
they love us.
Got his logo is somebody we know from Guild Ball days. I don't want to say it's... Seems like Mithrandir here or something, but...
Huh. What?
We have 275 subscribers? Hell yeah. Wow, we did 100 episodes? And we missed it?
Oh,
I mean,
we just did 100 episodes too.
Including the fake Curtis episode, yeah.
101 episodes. I mean, yeah, and all of the Strictly the Worst episodes, right?
Yeah, but those are real. That's fine.
Right.
I like how, okay. Did you guys look at the related podcasts for ours?
No.
Where is this?
The Fortnite podcast.
Yeah, the Fortnite podcast.
How do you click? I don't even see an option for related podcasts.
It's a column on the left.
On the far right.
On the right. What do you...
On the right. I'm bad at...
Oh. I was...
Make the L's. You can do it.
So I couldn't see it.
What is... Okay, I might have died by clicking on this.
Survival Horror
Which one?
Podcast.
I'm mad that Professional Casual isn't included in this. We should have one of their...
Wait, there's a Twilight Imperium podcast?
That rocks.
The Space Cats Peace Turtles that's recommended.
That's a cool name.
They have 402 episodes talking about...
Holy shit.
Twilight
Guys, what is VK.com? Did I just get hacked?
Yes.
Okay. I was
downloading.
You caught me typing VK dot, and you're like, "Did I just get hacked?" And I'm like, "Delete it."
This doesn't look great.
They have your crypto wallet.
So there's under the picture of our podcast, right? There's 5 pictures that represent social media links, right? First one, Facebook, reasonable. Second one, X, the everything app, reasonable. Yeah. Third one, LinkedIn.
Hell yeah. Can we make a LinkedIn and see how many people we can get to follow us on LinkedIn?
4 Tumblr, fine, whatever. 4 VK.com.
It is a Russian online social media site and social networking service based in St. Petersburg.
Florida?
Florida, nice.
It's been around since 2006.
Shit.
We should start 50 million users.
Been around longer than I've been in the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that's wrong now that I think about it, but
it was fun for a minute there.
Before I was seriously in the workforce.
Here's an important note. Danger Room has a 4.1 star rating on Spotify. Alfredo Size 3 Taco Truck on Spotify has a 4.2.
Let's go.
Yeah. Hang on, we're rewriting the intro.
Who's 1/10 of a star better than Danger Room?
All right,
these guys.
The most important thing is you have to go rate us on that. And if it's not a 5-star review, I don't want it. Don't rate us.
Hey, on Pocket Cast, they have a 4.5, and we have a 4.7.
God, we're so much better. Holy shit.
And that's with the same number of reviews. On Spotify, they have a lot more ratings, but on Pocket Cast, we have the same number.
Oh, hell yeah. So we can influence it more with a campaign. Exciting. I don't know what that would do because I think discoverability on all those apps is dog shit, which is why we're on YouTube.
That's interesting. Your fucking YouTube channel actually does quite well for SEO for Alfredo's size 3 taco truck.
Dude, our SEO fucking rips.
Yeah, that's totally.
Well, but it's the fucking iTunes link does not show up at all for me now.
Oh, did you know that like 3 years ago, Strictly the Worst stopped being the top hit for Strictly the Worst?
What?
There's a book series called Strictly the Worst now.
About us.
No, it's like a trashy, a very trashy smut series, as far as I can tell.
Enemies to lovers in forced proximity collide in the sizzling
Salinger
romantic
Brothers?
comedy.
Is it like JD Salinger? Link Salinger. Link.
Wait,
Link.
Have I not told any of you about this?
No.
Oh, this happened like a couple years ago. It's because I don't have like the Strictly the Worst website whenever I have to link to it, like saved. So I have to like Google it every time.
It's strictlytheworst.com.
Do you think?
Wait, strictlytheworst.com works? It's not strictlytheworst.libsyn.whatever?
No, it's. I think I still pay for it.
Do you think the thing?
I should sell it to this guy.
In like erotica novels?
It says site can't be reached. Oh, am I spelling strictly? Yeah, I'm spelling strictly wrong. Hang on, sorry.
What were you trying to say, bots?
Oh yeah. Well, so I read the synopsis.
Absolutely, sell it to this fucking person.
Book 5.
Yeah.
And Sherry, after a tough negotiation, I managed to bargain my way back on, but there's a catch. We have to travel to a tropical island and present to the client together. Sharing a beach cottage with only one bed, we plan to stay professional. That's like a common trope in like erotica and porn that like two people travel somewhere and are forced to stay in the same bed.
Mm-hmm.
Has that ever happened? A few nights of pleasure in paradise, and then we'll head back to New York and pretend this never happened.
Oh, I found her.
Can I just read this as the intro?
Okay. Should I adapt the intro to be?
No, it's okay. Do whatever you want.
Her fanfiction.net profile. She wrote a bunch of Twilight fanfic.
Well, who hasn't?
Well, I was trying to figure out if she's a Raylo or not. That's the important thing, but it doesn't appear that she is.
Why is it always brothers?
Your dumb friend.
Because this is not even like an incest story. It's just apparently these Lotharios are brothers. Because this is Strictly the Worst of Salinger Brothers, book 5. And then I clicked on her as an author. And then the first book that came up was That One Night, parentheses, The Heartbreak Brothers, Next Generation, book 4. Which not only it's in a whole different set of fuckable brothers, but also it says Next Generation. There was like a previous like this is like the reboot. This is like Captain America Brave New World, but for
I think it's really clever. Brothers. You can like have a happily ever after for one brother. Boom, you got another one to tell the story about. And guess what? He's got the same personality because they're twins or whatever.
They're all twins too, or triplets or whatever.
Well, there are 4 sets of twins.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's just clones of this.
So I could write 8 books before any of these relationships have to fall apart.
That One Night, The Heartbreak Brothers, Next Generation, book 4 of 4.
I hope people find our podcast when they're like really into this book series and search for a podcast about.
Why did they rename it Alfredo Size 3 Taco Truck?
That is weird.
My God, she's written so many books.
She really has. Oh, I see. All the Salinger Brothers books start with Strictly something. Like the first one is Strictly Business. The Heartbreak Brothers. Wait, what the fuck? This is a scam. They sell the Heartbreak Brothers collection books 1 through 3, but there's 4 of them. This is bullshit. Take me home, still the one, a better man.
That's a good screenshot.
Google really knows me.
The first result is the thing you're searching for.
You post that on
Chicago's premier fan-made Guildball and Tina Turner podcast.
I would do it, but I just don't want to take your joke. But Pat, can you just post that without any commentary in general, please? Because that's what I would do if I had discovered that.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna have to explain how we got here. But
no, you don't have to explain anything. It's a perfect image.
It's also not the top result, which I think adds to the joke.
Thank
All
you.
right, are you guys ready to get
Oh,
into
good.
it?
You did it from your second account too. Your secret account.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think that's a podcast.
Yeah, this is great.
What are you talking about? We can't use like any of this.
We can definitely use the erotica stuff.
Yeah, people will eat that
We
up.
can, and I'll try to cut that in. But
Thank
we
you.
definitely can't use what I started it with.